maintenance. Moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit KellenSolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
We're the big dogs. We're the big dogs. We're the big dogs. We're the big dogs. I'm not here to talk about Nathan Rourke. I think it's our time. We're the big dogs. I think it's our time. We're the big dogs. It's our time.
I don't know if that song is ever gonna get old. The big dogs take it this weekend, Rider Nation. Yes, the Saskatchewan Roughriders beat the BC Lions in the West Final at Mosaic Stadium, an electric Mosaic Stadium at that. In fact, we just got a text from Brad here on the B&A Petroleum text line saying, what a game, huge victory, love Jeff Fairholm getting the crowd pumped up to start that second half, set the tone, goosebumps for sure. It was awesome. Awesome indeed for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are now getting ready for the Grey Cup. Yep, the Grey Cup in Winnipeg. They will not be in the Winnipeg locker room. However, they will be facing the Montreal Alouettes, and we have a lot to get to here as we recap this past weekend's game. And obviously a pretty big gamble on the part of head coach Corey Mace. We're going to talk about his decision to kick the ball rather than going for a touchdown. Yeah. We got great guests lined up for today as well. But Trevor Harris, going back to that catch, or going back to that kick, Trevor Harris stands by head coach Corey Mace. Oh, well, we'll hear his thoughts there in just a moment. Now, as we head into this weekend, Trevor Harris is, again, going to be eyeing up his first ever Grey Cup as a starter. So really hoping that he's able to pull that one off for his team and for this province. It's going to be a good game. Regardless, I mean, it's going to be a little bit chilly. It is in Winnipeg, so that's definitely going to be the game to watch this week, I think, in any sport if you are a CFL football fan. And yeah, you know what? It's not as chilly here in Regina today. As I mentioned earlier, 9 degrees, and thankfully, they've actually fixed our door here at the radio station, so that's good. We had a little bit of an issue where the one door wouldn't actually open. So it was something straight out of an SNL skit on Friday as you saw people trying to leave the building for the weekend. They were rushing out the door and then just smack would hit a wall because the door wouldn't open on the one side. So thankfully, being an audio-based business, they were able to come in and fix up that door before we got on the radio here. But now let's go back to Trevor Harris talking about the gamble on Corey Mace's part to kick that ball late in the game.
I trust Corey Mace. He knows what he's doing. As you guys all saw, I'm sure that there's people at home going, "What are you doing?" And now they're like, "Mace is the man." So.
Oh, and if that went differently, yeah, this would be a very different tone of conversation today. You know what? Tommy Neild, of course, finding that ball from Trevor Harris late in the fourth quarter. Oh, man, I have watched that time and time again. That one play where touchdown Tommy gets it, secures it, sends the team off to the Grey Cup. And I had a chance to catch up with him on field after the game.
Well, Dave, I am down here with Tommy Neild. Tommy, you got that game-winning touchdown late in the fourth quarter. Take me through what that felt like.
Yeah, it felt amazing just to make a play for the team. That's all you can ask for, make a play like that in a moment like that. It's an incredible feeling, and we got another game next week.
Now walk me through the anxiety that you were feeling when they were reviewing it.
I mean, I knew I caught it. It's just making sure I got that confirmation.
So this team has dealt with, a couple of injuries throughout the season, and your receiving core maybe had a little bit of a slow start tonight. But what can you say about your receiving core?
Yeah, our receiving group is incredible, man, from the top down. We play as a true unit, and when we're firing on all cylinders, it's dangerous. It could be anyone's day, and I love going and playing with those guys, man. It's so fun.
And you definitely had a healthy group of guys here tonight. Now, congratulations, you are off to the Grey Cup in Winnipeg. How does that sound?
It's a great feeling. Like, this is why you play, man, to win, to go to the championship games and have that opportunity to play in the big games. So there's nothing more you could ask for. I'm just grateful to be in this position.
Congratulations, Tommy.
Thank you.
Touchdown Tommy with that huge TD late in the game. He said there was no anxiety when I went to the review center. He knew he caught it. Amar Doman on the other hand, maybe not so confident in that. Yeah, we'll get to that controversy a little bit later on as we roll through this show. It is the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. I'm Tegan Whitco, your host on Mondays, and it is brought to you by Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience moving water from dugout to well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. And I'm not sure if you heard the announcement this morning, but there is a concert coming to Regina. I know there's oftentimes a lot of people saying, oh, well, there's a concert now. It's going to be Saskatoon. No, this one is in Regina. Okay, it's Finger 11, it's Royal Tusk, and 3 Days Grace as the main act in this show. A little bit of a wait here. It's going to be taking place April 25th at the Brandt Center. And tickets go on sale this Friday morning at 10 a.m. local. But you know what? If you really want to check this out, we have a pair of tickets to give away. We do have a pair of tickets to give away today. And if you text us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, or if you give us a shout, 306-936-6262, you can also call us toll free at 1-866-767-0620. If you participate in the conversation, then you're instantly eligible to win a pair of tickets to 3 Days Grace, okay? And maybe you need a little something to get the juices flowing here. Let's talk about the Sportscage.com poll right now. Who was the MVP of the CFL's West Final? Who is the MVP? Now, your options: touchdown Tommy Neal, as we just talked about, Trevor Harris, whom we also just heard from, AJ Ouellette, or Nathan Rourke. Now, despite the fact that the BC Lions were knocked out of the playoffs, Nathan Rourke did have an incredible game. So definitely worth being part of this conversation. So who is the MVP CFL's West Final? Vote at sportscage.com and text us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line as well, 306-936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals, whatever you need to rent to get the job done. Prairie Land Rentals probably has it. Also, an official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street, right here in Regina. And it was a very active post-game call-in show following the Riders' 24-21 victory over the BC Lions, punching that ticket to the Grey Cup in Winnipeg this weekend. And one of the callers we did have was Deanna from Kyle, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, she's there. Just give me 1 second. I forgot to load those clips up, Tegan. I apologize.
Well, you know what? We can always get back to that in a little bit. It's all good, Curtis. We got you. This is the beauty of live streaming and live radio. There are a couple of hiccups here and there. And again, you're welcome to join the conversation. Participate in this discussion with us. And again, you might even win a little something. Still to come on the show, Dave Thomas is going to be swinging by. They're doing a big send-off at Mosaic Stadium. So they have all the fans there. I do believe head coach Corey Mace will even be addressing the crowd before they haul everybody onto the bus, drive to the airport, and make that short little plane trip over to Winterpeg there. So Dave Thomas is going to be swinging by to kind of set the stage for us, give us that scene. Brendan McGuire is going to come by for a Hardy Cup recap and a Mitchell Bowl preview. I mean, it was a heartbreaker for the Regina Rams this weekend in that Hardy Cup up in Saskatoon. Now, Rob Vanstone, senior journalist and rider historian, will also be stopping by for a conversation before he heads out to Winnipeg with the team. And we also have your clutch performer coming up. Tom Sargent, head coach of the Saskatoon Hilltops, is going to be chatting with us about their big win over the Okanagan Suns. Darian Durant, as always, having a conversation with us every Monday. We love Darian, and I have quite a few things I would like to get his take on. Mr. Wes Keets, part of our Rider Broadcast Network, will also be swinging by the studio a little bit closer to 5:30. And then Keets Fawcett. He's been lighting it up for the Regina Pats as of late, and he's going to swing by for a little bit of a conversation there as well. All aboard the Rider bandwagon. Jump on. I don't care who you normally cheer for. This is Rider country, but there are CFL fans who like other teams around here. But come on. Get on the bandwagon. I do anticipate that there's going to be a lot of new Alouettes fans in Winnipeg after last week, though. Okay, let's get to some of the calls that we had. And you can also join in the conversation here, too, if you have something to say about the game this past weekend. 306-936-6262. Give us a call or text on the Prairie Land Rentals call and text line. Deanna from Kyle, Saskatchewan.
good for the Riders, but amazing for the fans of Saskatchewan. We were number one in the West for a reason, and we've got next weekend, and it's going to be bittersweet to be in Winnipeg's locker room.
No, that's not the case.
Karma for the Bombers.
The Riders will not be in Winnipeg's locker room. They will be in the visitors' locker room. There's 3 at least Grey Cups in a row that are going to be out west, so the CFL decided that for this Grey Cup in Winnipeg, who used to be in the East Division, Montreal will be in Winnipeg's locker room. Hate to break it to you.
My question is, when did they decide this, though? Like,
I knew this before the game.
Yeah, but like this week? Like,
that's the CFL.
Or yesterday when Winnipeg lost, or like when Winnipeg got over into the East,
Winnipeg
and then they were
last week.
Or last week when Winnipeg lost. I'm thinking once Winnipeg got over there, somebody at Winnipeg called and was like, "Y'all better not let the Riders in our locker room."
Just blame Stuart Johnston. He's falling on the sword for everything right now.
Yeah, he probably had something to do with it. I think there's something fishy about it, though. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Wes doesn't like it, but you know what, Rider Nation, I'm sure, you know what, regardless, if they do end up winning next week, wouldn't it still be just as sweet to see them hoist the cup in Winnipeg at Princess Auto Stadium, Deanna?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Well, they still got to get through Montreal, so one game at a time, right?
We got this. It's the whole team deserves it. They're number one in the West for a reason, and they proved that tonight. It's almost reminded me of '89 Grey Cup. So last few seconds, it's holding your breath.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, next week it is, Deanna. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Of course, that was Deanna from Kyle, Saskatchewan, who called us during the Rider Nation Radio Roundtable. And boy, I brought up the Amar Doman thing and Tommy's elbow. Okay, that controversy is getting people fired up on the stream, sportscage.com, our YouTube channel as well. There was one message here. I'm not going to try to pronounce your username, but I watched the replay, slowed it down on YouTube, and it's Tommy's elbow hitting the ground, not the ball. So, again, maybe we're a little biased in Rider Nation, but I truly have watched that play so many times. I do not believe that was actually the ball hitting the ground. But we will get the opinions of those who are a lot more educated in the matter than I am, okay? I'm just here to ask the questions, so we'll dive into that a little bit more, but feel free to join in the conversation. 306-936-6262, the Prairie Land Rentals text line. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side with your voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas. It's the Sports Cage, home of local sports. Watch the stream at sportscage.com and YouTube. This is on 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. One full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
Ready to raise your shower game? Rent a water heater and water softener together from Reliance Heath and turn every shower into a spa-worthy experience. Right now, when you rent a new water heater and water softener together, you'll get $400 back, sent by check after installation. Why settle for meh when you can upgrade your whole home's water and get big cashback savings? Don't miss out on this limited time offer.
Call on Reliance.
Call on Reliance Heath today.
This fall, the eyes of Canadian university football turn to Regina. The University of Regina, City of Regina, and U Sports proudly host the 60th anniversary of the Vanier Cup, Saturday, November 22nd at Mosaic Stadium. It's the first time Regina welcomes this historic championship, showcasing the best in Canadian university football. Tickets start at just $10 for youth and students, $20 for adults, and kids under 5 are free. That's Saturday, November 22nd, Mosaic Stadium. Get your tickets now at vaniercup.com.
All the farmland and equipment you could need are available at auction this fall with Ritchie Brothers. A wide variety of farmland auctions across Western Canada will begin in earnest in October and run into December to get you ready for the next season. With new parcels of land and equipment continually added to their inventory, make sure to visit their website so you never miss an opportunity. Head over to rbauction.com to get started. Again, that's rbauction.com.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Sportscage is live streaming from our Century Studios in downtown Regina. Watch now at sportscage.com and our YouTube channel. Be part of the show by texting 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Yes, welcome to the Sports Cage. I am your Monday host, Tegan Whitco. Thanks for joining us for the ride. We got Curtis over there running the board, making sure things move smoothly. We got him over there. And you know what? I did see a message here. I think it was from Crofty on the stream, which you can watch at sportscage.com or our YouTube channel as well, saying, oh, Barnyard must be on his way to Winnipeg. He must be on his way to do the Sports Cage from Winnipeg. Unfortunately, not the case. You just got me today, okay? However, we will be all over the Grey Cup in Winnipeg this week. One of the people that will be in Winnipeg, our very own voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas, and he joins us now on the Western Pizza guest hotline. And you are live from a chilly-looking Mosaic Stadium outside.
I hate to tell you, it's a lot warmer right now than what it was on Saturday night. I'll have you know.
Yeah, 9 degrees certainly feels a lot better than minus 19. But they're sending off the team to Winnipeg. They're going to be loading onto the bus pretty soon here. So just kind of give us an idea of what it looks like, what it feels like down there.
Well, I don't know whether or not you could actually hear the cheer that just went up. It's actually pretty electric down here just outside Mosaic Stadium.
Oh, and of course, technology is great only when it works. So Dave Thomas trying to join us from the little send-off party that is happening down at Mosaic Stadium right now, because I do believe they're going to be hopping aboard that bus in about 20 minutes time here, going to the plane and hitching a ride to Winnipeg to get ready for all the preparations that come along with the Grey Cup, right? At least it's not that far of a flight and they're already climatized to the weather. So we're trying to get Dave punched back in here. We'll see if he's able to join us and give us a little bit more information there. But you can feel free to join in the conversation. 306-936-6262 on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Let's see. We do have a couple of text messages coming in here. Our Sports Cage poll this week is asking who you think deserves the MVP of the West Final. Rob did text in and say AJ. Got to be AJ. I know we also did get some questions here on the text line asking if there's going to be any watch parties at Mosaic Stadium for the Grey Cup. We have not heard of anything. At least I know I have not heard of anything. Dave Thomas has not shared any information with me at this point, but we will definitely put in the ask and see if there are any plans for that. They would have to, cobble that together pretty quickly here, but we'll definitely see if that is the case. Join in the conversation, though, Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. And we got Dave back live from Mosaic Stadium and the send-off party.
I'm here.
You're here.
It's still warm, and there's a lot of things that are happening. This is not the typical departure from Saskatchewan Roughriders. There are, I tell you, a great contingent of Rider Nation. We've got players starting to stream out over towards the buses where, of course, they'll depart to the aircraft. And, I tell you, a ton of energy here right now.
And I do understand head coach Corey Mace is going to be standing up in front of the crowd to have some parting words for Rider Nation, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because, you could feel and sense his emotion. I don't know if it was just me or not in the post-game show back on Saturday night, just his appreciation for Rider Nation coming out, selling out the venue, and making a huge difference in the game. And I think he wants to express some of that gratitude. And, again, Riders haven't been in this game for 12 years, so they're kind of rewriting the book, if you will, when it comes to sending a team to the Grey Cup Championship, something that, of course, they want to do year after year after year. But for right now, it's the next 7 days that are in front of them to get set for the 112th Grey Cup in Winnipeg.
A dozen years in the making, the Riders off to the Grey Cup facing the Montreal Alouettes in Winnipeg. And Dave, I understand that you're also going to be tracking out to Winnipeg shortly here as well. The Sports Cage is hitting the road this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Barney's going to be, of course, quarterbacking the show as he always does, but he's going to be throwing some deep passes to Luke Mullender and I will be set up in Winnipeg starting tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. We'll be there all week long. We've got some alumni members, some former teammates of Luke that are going to be joining us. Of course, various people from around the Canadian Football League and they're going to join us. And then, of course, we'll get you inside the matchup. We'll be the ones that are allowed access into the Saskatchewan Roughriders practice. We can tell you what it looks like, who will be there, who is and isn't on the field. So if you want to know what the Riders are doing in Winnipeg, you'll hear it here on the Sportscage.
And Dave, we did get a text in here on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. There was someone asking, is there any word of any possible viewing parties for the Grey Cup at Mosaic Stadium?
I haven't heard anything to that extent just yet, but if I do, of course, we'll definitely pass it along. The other question that was actually sent to me earlier, and I heard you playing Deanne and her talk on the post-game show about going into the Blue Bombers locker room. The Riders are moving into the University of Manitoba Bison's locker room, and it sounds like they are going to be going ahead and setting up on the visitors' sideline. So I know there's a number of people that are looking to line up tickets, and what that looks like is if you want to sit behind the Riders' bench, you'll have to go to the visitors' side. That hasn't been 100% confirmed by CFL operations staff, but that's the way it's looking right now.
You know, Dave, I did see some news breaking earlier this afternoon that Toronto has received permission to speak with Mike O'Shea after the departure of Dinwiddie. So if you run into him, can you grill him for us?
Yeah, but I don't think he'd tell me or anyone else anything that he's got going on, because that, again, I think that really made a lot of sense that the Argonauts would reach out to him. O'Shea, of course, is on an expiring contract. He kind of goes year to year right now, and I don't want to say it's loosey-goosey, but it's a handshake agreement, and that's kind of an honorable way to do it with himself and the general manager and the operations department in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Mike O'Shea starred for the Toronto Argonauts for so many seasons that, yeah, I think it absolutely completely makes sense. I'm surprised that the news kind of came out and trickled out here on Grey Cup week, but hey, just more to talk about, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, believe me, there is no shortage of stuff to get to here today, Dave. But I will let you enjoy the send-off festivities, and we'll catch up a bit later, okay?
Hey, that sounds terrific, and I don't know if you can hear the cheer behind me, but the team is making their way to the buses led by Brett Walters. So pretty good cheer here at Mosaic Stadium.
Okay, awesome. Well, you better get going there, Dave. Appreciate the time.
Hey, thanks so much. Go Riders.
Your voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas, with some very spotty Wi-Fi out in front of Mosaic Stadium as they are sending off the team. Such a cool way to do it. And, of course, the weather cooperates now. Couldn't have cooperated on Saturday. Those heaters were a very popular place to be on the Riders sideline, that's for sure. But, of course, Dave Thomas, that was joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. It's a pizza known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection. Now, we did hear one of the calls that we got on the post-game show not too long ago. Can we hear Tyler's comments as well there, Curtis? Are we good to go on that? Okay, so Tyler from Regina also called us Saturday night following the Rider 24-21 win.
Brett Lauder played amazing out there, my guy. Also, I totally disagree about the whole kicking the field goal and working the touchdown there. I called it. I said in 5:21, and everybody around me was like booing. And I told the guys, I'm like, we're going for the field goal. We're going for the points. Our defense is going to go out there. We're going to get the stop. We're going to get the ball back, go down the field, get a touchdown. I believe in these guys. We got this. And then when it happened, I turned around and looked at everybody around me that I told, and I'm like, told you, believe in this guys. These guys got this.
I mean, okay, so you were got a little Nostradamus in you or something, but that still doesn't mean it makes sense. Like it did, like it was 3 points. It did nothing for them. They still had to score, even when they got the ball back. Like, were they going to kick a quick field goal and then hope to get it back and kick a rouge? Like, I'm just saying, like, I don't know if there's like an analytics table or something. Would they ever say kick the field goal right there? I don't think it would. But kudos for you calling it out. Maybe you want to give me some lotto ticket numbers or something for next week?
How about we share it?
Yeah, I'm down with that. I'll pay for it. You give me the numbers, I'm all in.
All right.
Well, Tyler from Regina, we got your number, buddy. Thanks so much for calling in. Of course, you can also call us still. Phone lines are open on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, but it is a phone number you can call too. That's usually how these things work. 306-936-6262. What did you think about the big win this weekend? What are you anticipating or predicting for the Grey Cup in Winnipeg this weekend? We would love to hear from you. Again, you can call toll-free as well at 1-866-767-0620. I think we're going to take a quick break here because we do have the voice of the Rams, Brendan McGuire, standing by here. So we'll get to that in just a few short moments. We'll be right back. This is the Sportscage on the home of local sports. You can watch the stream at sportscage.com and YouTube. Sportscage on 620 CKRM.
Thank you, Rider Nation. The Riders Foundation 50-50 jackpots have been massive this season, and it's all thanks to you. When you buy your 50-50, you're supporting amateur football across the province. And now the Riders are back in the Grey Cup with a guaranteed payout of $250,000. But we know it'll be bigger than that. Don't get hit with regret. Buy your 50-50 tickets at riders5050.ca. And let's bring the Grey Cup to Saskatchewan.
Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC. Lottery license LR250011.
Canada's Conservatives have put forward a bill that will unlock our nation's true potential by rewarding those who build and invest in Canada. The Canadian Sovereignty Act introduces measures such as the Canada First Reinvestment Tax Cut to eliminate capital gains tax on reinvestments in Canada, ensuring that money stays here and builds our great economy. My name is Warren Steinley, your Conservative Member of Parliament for Regina Luban, and I will always be on Saskatchewan's side.
Paid ad by Warren Steinley.
Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer. Then sit back, watch the game, grip your chair, and high-five anyone nearby. Every bet is 100% legal with the chance of winning cash in hand. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
I still just don't understand it. It's like buying a jigsaw puzzle and only getting half the pieces. I'm Wood Country Woody, and I like things done right. That's why my garage package came from Wood Country. A Wood Country garage package contains everything you need right from the start, including appearance-grade lumber, all your nails and screws, and walk-in doors with cladded jambs. It's one and done right with Wood Country.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale, wood-country.com.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262 for Prairie Land Rentals. Renting heaters, skid steers, and most power tools for all those winter jobs. And your official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street, where you deal with the owner. Saskatchewan, it's time to talk sports. Sportscage is on the air. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. And we're always online at sportscage.com. 620 CKRM.
You bet we are. I'm Tegan Whitco, your Monday Sports Cage host. Barney back in tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Of course, we will also be, hearing from Dave Thomas and Luke Mullender live from Winnipeg as the Grey Cup festivities get underway. By the way, if you also want to win some 3 Days Grace tickets, get them before they go on sale. Just announced today, April 25th, they will be performing at the Brand Center. So if you want to take in a show close to home, you want to win some tickets, save some money, we might be able to hook you up. All you have to do is join in the conversation, okay? You can call us or text us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 306-936-6262. Even James from Lumsden messaged us saying, best of luck to the Riders, outstanding performance. What issue did the BC owner have with the last TD? Pretty sore loser, if you ask me. I guess it's not their time. It's our time. Absolutely love that. Pulling that quote direct from Mr. Trevor Harris, of course. Apparently the ball hit the ground, according to Amar Doman, but we'll get to that in a little bit here. In the meantime, we have our next guest standing by on the Western Pizza guest hotline, your voice of the Rams, Brendan McGuire. Hi, Brendan. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Tegan. Better than the Rams were at the end of the game Saturday. It was a real heartbreak for them, but great football weekend for Saskatchewan, that's for sure.
It was almost hard to keep up. There was so much going on. And you did mention the heartbreak in that Hardy Cup. So let's recap that a little bit. The Rams lose by a single point. Brendan, I was in the Sportscage lounge. We were doing the pregame show, and I know you were on the air at the same time calling the game, and everybody was constantly coming up asking for updates, and it was a nail-biter towards the end there. But the Rams were up heading into that final quarter and managed to, frankly, blow it. So the tides shifted. It was a dramatic finish. What did you see from your viewpoint?
I feel like I'm blowing this camera angle. Maybe I'll get it. No, you know what? Football is the ultimate what-if sport. And I'm just going to hold this. And, at the end of the day, people can complain, well, gee, what about this? What about that? It was just a great football game all around. I don't think it's a game that I'll ever forget. It kind of reminds me of the 2004 West final between Saskatchewan and BC. A lot of the Rider fans will remember it because Paul McCallum missed that field goal. And that's not why I remember it. I remember it because it was just an amazing football game. I felt like it would have been great if it would have gone to like triple or quadruple overtime. And sometimes that just happens. That's the sport that it is. And, a lot of people will look at it and say that the Rams blew it in the second half, and they had a 15-point lead going to the fourth quarter. They were still moving the football, but they just weren't able to finish drives. And there were miscues on both sides. When you think about all that the Rams had to go through, including not having their star running back, that's a pretty big obstacle to overcome. But the Huskies had their own obstacles that they had to overcome, too. They didn't have their number one quarterback, and they haven't had their number one quarterback since week 5. And they would have had a much better shot if they did have their number one signal caller. So ultimately, both teams had issues and disadvantages that they had to deal with. I just think of it as a great game played by two great teams. The first quarter, the ball looked a little frozen, or I think the fact the ball was frozen impacted the ability of both offenses to pass because the passing game wasn't impressive at all. And then in the second quarter, it was like a gunfight broke out, and there were lots of big plays that were being executed. The Ram receivers really came to play on this day. Blake Laidlaw and Ryland Sokol and Emmett Stedman, Nick Sirleaf, and I know I'm forgetting others, but there were a lot of big catches made in this game. There you can see the one into the end zone. I think that one was to Caleb Sens. And all in all, I just thought it was a great that one was to Stedman. It was just a great football game played by two teams who were fighting it out for a championship, and someone had to lose, and unfortunately for Regina, that had to be the Rams on this day.
And you did mention that there was some positive flashes, some positive notes for the Regina Rams. Take us through that Brandon Wong fumble recovery scoop and score. That looked wicked.
Yeah, in the third quarter, the Huskies had a dreadful time on the snaps all day long. And there was one earlier in the game that was snapped over Jake Farrell's head, and he jumped on it. It was a 17-yard loss, big sack. And then it happened again here in the third quarter. These were the only second-half points scored by the Rams when Brandon Wong picked it up and ran it in, as you can see there on the video. So credit to him, credit to the Ram defense. Listen, Daniel Weeb is the Canada West Player of the Year. And coming into this game, everybody suggested that if the Rams were going to have a chance, they were going to have to try to shut down Weeb, Regina's Riker Frank, the running back, or Dawson Lene, those three. And they did a really nice job in shutting down Daniel Weeb. It kept him to 75 yards. Crazy to think that someone who got 75 yards was shut down, but it was very sneaky 75 yards. I was really surprised to see he had that much in the game. Riker Frank had close to 200 yards of all-purpose, and Lene was mostly a non-factor. So the Regina defense did a number on them. I keep talking about the mess-ups with the snaps, but I think the Regina defense had a little something to do with that. And after that scoop and score by Brandon Wong, the Huskies swapped out their center. They're very odd in how they use their offensive linemen. They sometimes dress as many as 8. I don't know any other team in football that does that, and it seems like they shift people around. So they brought in a different center after that particular play. and I think there was a procedure call, but other than that, they didn't have any more issues. So credit to the Huskies for making that change, understanding, hey, this isn't working, and they made the change when they had to. Another thing that wasn't brought up enough is that in that third quarter, Saskatchewan's quarterback, Jake Farrell, was looking directly into the sun. Like, it was really glaring. That was right the time of day as it's coming down, and you could tell he wasn't on with his receivers. And I wonder if maybe the center doing the snaps got a little bit of a disproportionate, unfairly disproportionate amount of the blame, and some of it might have been the issue with the sun.
Well, Jake Farrell, you bring him up by name. 25 completions, 356 passing yards, 2 tutties, Hardy Cup MVP. So you must have been doing some things right, hey?
Yeah. Oh, no, he played a great game. He's a second-year guy, went to Holy Cross in Saskatoon, and who just won the provincial championship. They beat Miller in Regina. And I'm actually glad that you brought that up because that kind of ties into another thing. We just taped the weekly TV show on Access today. That's going to air tomorrow because of the holiday. And if you talk to Mike Thomas, the CEO of Football Saskatchewan, the amount of youth playing football in Saskatchewan in 2005 was 5,000. Today it's 25,000. The sport is rapidly growing in our province. And I remember I was a reporter every day on the ground in the late 2000s. And people would say, well, Saskatchewan's a football mad province. And I'd say, no, not really. We're a rider province, but we're still very much a hockey province. And we're still a hockey province, but I wouldn't say we're not a football province anymore. We are very much a football province. And I think a big reason why you saw the Rams and the Huskies finish 1-2 this year and meet in the Hardy Cup for a second straight year, just the third time ever that that's happened, is part of a long-term sea change that is happening. The Saskatchewan teams were long at a disadvantage because the talent pool that they have to draw from is much smaller than, say, UBC or Alberta or Calgary or even Manitoba. But because Saskatchewan's minor football community and the flag football community is growing so rapidly, not just because of the Roughriders, but also because of, you know, the popularity of the NFL in this country and the fact that NFL is funding all of the flag football, that has made such a difference to the point now that the Rams and the Huskies actually have a really deep talent pool to pull from. And I think Jake Farrell's a good example of that. He's only second year out of high school, and he was able to step in. And I'm not going to say that the Husky offense didn't miss a beat, but they've won every game since he came in, and including the one over the Rams, they're 5-0, and they just beat a great football team on Saturday. And just to put into perspective how big that game was, Tegan, from a historical perspective, the Rams and the Huskies entered that match with a combined record of 15-3, 833 winning percentage. That has never happened before in the history of the two programs meeting in the playoffs. And it sets up a very intriguing finish to what could be the greatest football year in Saskatchewan's history, because I'm sure it's been talked about on the air already, but we've had years where the Roughriders have won a Grey Cup and the Junior Rams or the Thunder or the Hilltops have won a national championship in the same year. That's all happened before it, and it could happen this year. But we've never had the trifecta where a college team from Saskatchewan has won the Vanier Cup. And there's a very real possibility of that happening in Regina in, 11, 12 days. So it's just another sign of how far things have come with Football Saskatchewan.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? The first ever time the Vanier Cup comes here and potentially a Saskatchewan team wins it. Before we move on to the Mitchell Bowl, I do just want to get your take on this a little bit because you mentioned it right off the front. Football is a game of what ifs. So I am going to ask the question, what if Marshall Erickson was healthy and suited up for this one? I'm sure that thought crossed your mind, Brendan.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And we thought about it. We talked about it during the broadcast. I think all things being equal, if there were no other changes, if Marshall suits up, you have to think that would have given them the extra edge. They really never did get the run game going. If they needed 2-3 yards, Katendi was pretty reliable that way. I think the biggest difference as to why the Huskies had a little more success with the ground game was we knew that both teams were going to be really geared up to stop the run in this game. And that was the case. Riker Frank and the Saskatchewan offense really made an effort to get outside. He was running side to side. He was trying to get outside the tackle box. And sometimes he was successful, sometimes he wasn't. With the Rams, there was a lot more bulldozing right up the middle, and I don't fault them for doing that. I mean, Katendi's as good of a smash mouth, cloud of dust running back as you're going to find. But I think there was a little bit of a deficit there for the Rams at the end of the day, and partly why they came up short. Listen, you're never going to replace Marshall Erickson. When Daniel Weeb won Canada West Player of the Year, I kind of paused for a while, and I don't want to look at it through Ram-colored glasses. I think that you could flip a coin over who the Canada West Player of the Year was. And Marshall made up 39% of their offense during the regular season. So how do you replace that? You can't. They tried to do it by committee. I thought the receivers really stepped up. They made some great catches. I told Paul Harrison, the receivers coach, after, I said, boy, your crew really came to play today. But when the game is so frigid and the ball, we say it didn't impact, but it did. You could tell that the ball being somewhat frozen impacted the ability to throw it. And more importantly, it impacted the ability to kick it. So there were points left on the board that they otherwise would have had in the kicking game. And when you don't have your stud running back, it's really hard to replace that. So I took the long-winded way around to answer your question, which is yes, I think the Rams would have won the game. But I keep reminding myself that the Huskies didn't have their number one quarterback. And if you throw him into the equation, all bets are off again.
It's a very different ball game at that point. You mentioned the cold weather and the kicking. Unfortunately, the punt attempt for the Rouge falls just short in the dying moments of that game. They could have tied it up. That had to have been so emotional on the sidelines when that play unfolded. If I'm not mistaken, 11 players were in their final year of eligibility for the Rams, so that's got to be a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, definitely. No question about it. And, on that final play, I've thought 30 ways to Sunday how they could have done it differently, and I know the Rams have too. I think that if the weather was, say, 3 or 4 degrees Celsius warmer, they'd probably try a field goal because that would have been a 55-yard field goal. And Ty Gorniak, who's the great story, 18 years old, the youngest athlete ever to score points in U of R Rams history, or in University of Regina history, period. He's made one, they say, from 62 yards in practice. Now, just because you can make one in practice doesn't mean you will in a game. But during the regular season, his longest was just inside 45. And I seem to recall being told that they would try it within 50. So 55, end of a game, you would try it. But because the ball was a little bit hard, they had to try the punt. And that was a very low percentage play. Right? Because you have to remember, Isaac Wagner has to get that ball. They scrimmage it at the 47, so he's got to hit it like at least 50 yards deep, which CFL punters have a tough time doing that. He's got to try to get hang time under it so that the cover team can get down. He's got to try and angle it close to the sideline, but even that's risky because if he misses it a little bit to the right, then it goes out of bounds before it reaches the end zone and the game's over. I'm glad you keep showing that footage because one thing that was pointed out to me today was that the Huskies didn't come after him at all. They scattered away. And I guess, maybe he could have tried to walk with it for a bit or jog a little bit and get 5 or 10 yards. Because if he does that and he's able to get the same kick away, he gets it deeper into the end zone and his cover team has them surrounded a lot better. But I mean, again, there's still a lot of ifs because if he has to run, is he going to have the energy? Can he kick the ball that deep when he's on the run? I mean, it was also an example of, I've always been of our athletes are inferior to the National Football League, and that's not a shot at the CFL athletes, but the NFL athletes are amazing. But we have the superior rules, and I still truly believe that. And that was an example of it right there. If that's a 4-down American-style game, you're trying a Hail Mary, which is a really low percentage play. This at least gave them a fighting chance. I thought it was a cool play to end the game and very fitting that it would end on a play like that, given the contest and the magnitude of what happened before our eyes on Saturday.
When you bring up Canadian rules versus American football rules, I think you just stirred the pot a little bit there, Brendan. That text line is going to be blowing up.
Hopefully.
Because, yeah, that's a whole other topic of conversation we shouldn't get into right now. We're going to be here all afternoon if we do. But Saskatoon will now host the Mitchell Bowl, taking on Queens this weekend. How do you see these two teams stacking up? Who has the edge?
That's a great question. It's really hard to say because they're in different conferences, which is one thing I like about it. It just adds to the unpredictability. You know what? One of the big things that makes the NFL so successful is the competitive balance, right? They've got things like a salary cap, they've got revenue sharing. And so it's not like baseball where New York beats on the small teams. And we saw it in the baseball playoffs how the Dodgers beat up everyone except the Blue Jays, even though they eventually won that series. College football is not quite that compelling. You have a lot of haves and a lot of have-nots, and it's really bad in the United States. And it's bad in most of Canada. Like in the Maritimes, they're not super strong. Quebec, it's Montreal and Laval beating up on each other, and that's it. I think those two teams have lost one game in like the last 8 or 10 years to anyone but each other. Ontario's a little more open. And here in Saskatchewan, it's like the NFL from a competitive balance standpoint. You don't know who's going to win from week to week. So for those reasons, I really like the Huskies' chances because they've had to grind out a lot of victories. Now, Queens upsetting Laurier is massive because Laurier was number one in the rankings all year long, dominating the competition. So for Queens to get through means that the Huskies will have a much more beatable opponent than we would have thought earlier. It's also important to note that of those Ontario teams, since they started doing the Mitchell Bowl, anytime they've come out west, they have gone 0-3. And anytime an Eastern team from Ontario or the Maritimes has come out west for a Mitchell Bowl, the Western team has gone 8-3. So, historically, that would tell us that the Huskies have a really good shot at it. And I believe that they do. It also adds a little bit of extra salt into the Rams' wounds because if they don't let that Hardy Cup get away from them, they're at home playing a beatable opponent that they have to get through to get to the Vanier Cup. So great for Saskatchewan. Maybe stings a little extra for the U of R Rams knowing that. But again, I took the long way around. To answer your question, I like the Huskies' chances.
Okay. I think there's going to be a few, Rams fans that might be needing to throw their support behind the Saskatchewan team this weekend. A
lot of people will be cheering for them. You know what? Last year, Brian Tauris, the legendary Huskies coach, sounded like a guy who was pulling for the Rams. So I don't think there's any harm in cheering for your provincial rival. But at the same time, a lot of Ram people who get caught up in the rivalry won't be cheering for the Huskies, and I can understand that too.
I can completely appreciate that. You know what? You do you. Let's move over to the CFL quickly here because I know we are running short on time, Brendan. Riders, Lions, what a game. What were your major takeaways from that one? I know there were some gambles that Corey Mace made, but anything else that stands out?
Well, I think that Coach Mace is the best coach in the league right now. It's easy to say that when they're going into a Grey Cup, but I do believe that. I don't know what the financial details are on his extension, but it should be a giant raise because I think he's the biggest X factor that they have here and why they've been so successful the last 2 years. I don't buy into the narrative that they won that game because of his call to take the field goal and fight back later. I choose to believe they won that game in spite of his call. I've thought about a lot of different reasons as to why they would have done this and how it helped them or how it hurt them. I don't believe it helped them win. But you know what? Ultimately, they ended up winning, so he looks like a genius. And one thing I do appreciate about his explanation in the press conference after is, normally I would go for it, but I went with my gut here. And I really like that because too often in sports today, it's really bad in Major League Baseball, but it's bad in all the sports. Coaches they overthink things and they outthink themselves instead of just going with their gut. And his gut told him, let's take the points here. I have a feeling we're going to get the ball back, and I have a feeling that Trevor's going to make this happen and our receivers and everybody else on the last drive, and they did. So you have to give him credit for that, and that will live in infamy. It's not as bad as the Jason Moss doing the exact same thing in the 2017 West Final, Edmonton at Calgary. I looked it up, and when Mace decided to just take the 3, There was about 2:43 left on the clock. Well, when Jason Moss did it and was ridiculed after because it blew up in his face, there was only 1:43 left. So that extra minute makes a pretty big difference. And it's also a reminder that with these new rule changes coming, especially with the play clock, we don't have a lot of clarification about how they're going to handle the last 3 minutes. Let's make sure we hold the league office accountable that if our 3 minutes is impacted, that they have to call an audible and switch back, because the last 3 minutes in Canadian football are the best, and Saturday proved it.
Oh, so wildly entertaining. I think that took a couple of days off my life at the very least. But you mentioned Moss. It's Mace versus Moss. It's the Grey Cup. It's the big matchup in Winnipeg. We know the Riders are not going to be in the Winnipeg home locker room, but that's fine. That aside, what do you see this upcoming weekend? Grey Cup, you got Trevor Harris, maybe Davis Alexander on the other side. It depends on that hamstring, right? But I mean, he's dangerous. 13-0 as a starter, and McLeod Bethel-Thompson has fared decently well against the Riders this season as well.
Yeah, I don't have a doubt in the world that Alexander's going to play. He may not be at 100%. He may not be able to. The big question is, can he do those rollouts? Mm-hmm. I'm an old soul, and I've watched a lot of the old footage because I'm always curious about what Warren Moon looked like when he was quarterbacking in the Canadian Football League. And a lot of what Alexander does reminds me of that. Now, I ask others from back then, and they say, nah, not really. So maybe that's not totally accurate. But I think what makes him special is his ability to move around. And if his hamstring is aggravated, that is going to be a problem for the Alouettes. That said, there is a blueprint to beat a Corey Mace defense. We saw it by Calgary, and we also know that Montreal has some of those tangibles to put together a game plan like that. Now, whether Jason Moss follows that blueprint and is able to execute it, and Davis Alexander is able to execute it, that remains to be seen. But the blueprint is out there. The blueprint to beating Davis Alexander does not exist yet. He's 13-0. And so that concerns me greatly if I'm the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Some have suggested, well, McLeod Bethel-Thompson had a field day with the Rider defense, so if he has to come in, he could do that again. I don't worry about that one iota. That game was such an outlier. We learned how valuable having a good Canadian corner is in Tavon Campbell and how much it hurts when he's out. And I don't believe that they're going to have any of their big guns in the secondary out for this game. So ultimately, I am picking Montreal to win on the TV show. Spoiler. But I mean, I reserve the right to change my mind as the week goes. I mean, if something really bad happens with Alexander, then it'll be advantage Riders. I think it's going to be a great Grey Cup, a pick'em game.
Yeah, it could be an instant classic, just like the West Final was this past weekend. Brendan McGuire, voice of the Regina Rams, thank you so much for taking the time. Sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. And we need to take a quick break here, it looks like. So we will be back on the other side. A reminder that we are giving away tickets to 3 Days Grace right here in Regina at the Brand Center this spring. If you want to win, Prairieland Rentals text line. Join the conversation, 306-936-6262. This is the Sportscage, streaming at sportscage.com and our YouTube channel, the home of local sports, and on 620 CKRM.
Thank you, Rider Nation. The Riders Foundation 50/50 jackpots have been massive this season, and it's all thanks to you. When you buy your 50/50, you're supporting amateur football across the province. And now the Riders are back in the Grey Cup with a guaranteed payout of $250,000. But we know it'll be bigger than that. Don't get hit with regret. Buy your 50/50 tickets at riders5050.ca. And let's bring the Grey Cup to Saskatchewan.
Riders 50/50 is presented by ISC. Lottery license LR250011.
It's home reno season, and with that Regina wind chill, you're better off renovating than relocating. Stay productive with a little help from Freeze Tallman. From drywall and molding to installation and interior doors, they've got everything you need to renovate your space. Freeze Tallman's delivery team can also deliver right to your home if you live in Regina, Fort Capel, or anywhere in southern Saskatchewan. Freeze Tallman's got you covered this reno season. Visit freezetallman.com or see them in Regina or Fort Capel. Freeze Tallman. Let's get you building.
Husqvarna wants you to remember when you were a kid, watching Switchback in the nice warm house while your parents were outside shoveling snow.
Make it quick, I'm watching Switchback.
Well, now that you're the adult and shoveling snow is still a drag, get yourself a Husqvarna snowblower from the local team at Prairieland Rentals. This is no big box store. You deal directly with the owner, who knows Husqvarna, and a guy who would always answer, make it quick, I'm watching Switchback. Prairieland Rental, 600 Albert Street, prairielandrental.com.
Experience counts, and Louis Dreyfus Company's team has over 150 years of combined expertise. Act before October 31st with the LDC Next Era program and receive extra rebates. This program carries a higher premium, trucking incentives, and varieties that have proven better yields. Choose varieties like the Liberty Link 3901 or 3018 or the new Optimum Glide 4970. Louis Dreyfus Yorkton, 877-782-8882 or ldcyorkton.com.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Bundle and save with Reliance Heath. Rent a new water heater and softener together and get $400 cash back. Call on Reliance Heath today.
All right, we got in the SJHL, Kindersley Clippers traveling to Battleford to take on the Stars. Prairie Junior Hockey League, Moosomin in Regina. In the NHL, you got the Blue Jackets traveling to Edmonton to take on the Oilers. In the NFL, we're wrapping up Week 10 here as the Eagles travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers. By the way, if you missed this earlier in the day as well, speaking of the NFL, the New York Giants fired their head coach, Brian Daboll, after a 2-8 start. Ugh. And then Hardy Cup, if you missed that, we just had a conversation with Brendan McGuire, voice of the Rams. They lost a heartbreaker 25-24 to the Saskatchewan Huskies in the Vanier Cup this past weekend. If you missed our conversation with Brendan, you can always go back and listen in podcast form. The stream at youtube.com, sportscage.com is where you will find us as well. Coming up next, we have the Riders Coaches Show, but all of the coaches are en route to Winnipeg. So we will have someone stepping in on their behalf. A special guest joins us on the other side of the news. This is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and YouTube, your home for local sports.
We are 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station, broadcasting live from downtown Regina.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM News. Brand Industries has been fined after being found guilty in Regina Provincial Court for violating workplace safety rules under the Occupational Health and Safety Regulations. The company was convicted of failing to ensure only trained workers operated powered mobile equipment after a worker was seriously injured while using a forklift in September 2021. Brand was ordered to pay a fine and surcharge totaling $55,000. The Ministry of Labour Relations and Workplace Safety continues working to prevent workplace injuries through education and enforcement. 2 more people are facing charges in connection with the November 1st homicide in Regina. 44-year-old Trevor Whitequill is charged with accessory after the fact to murder. A 17-year-old female, whose name is protected under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, is also charged with accessory after the fact, along with 2 firearm-related offenses. The charges stem from the fatal shooting of a 19-year-old man in a home on 12th Avenue. The investigation is ongoing. Canada has lost its international status as a measles-free country after achieving the title more than 25 years ago. Dr. Jarvis Barboza, the director of the Pan American Health Organization, says this is a setback, but other countries have regained it, and Canada can too.
Canada interrupts the outbreak and keeps the country free for another 12 months, and also accomplished with the criteria for immunization coverage, surveillance, and rapid response. Canada will receive again the certificate of measles.
Canada's outbreak began in New Brunswick in October of 2024 and spread to other provinces, infecting more than 5,000 people in Canada. Officials and experts attribute the return of measles to declining vaccination rates, partly stemming from misinformation and distrust of authority. Prime Minister Mark Carney says his government will announce the next group of projects being sent to the Major Projects Office for review on Thursday. Carney shared the update while speaking in Fredericton. 2 months ago, the federal government named the first 5 projects that could be considered for a national interest designation. None have received that status yet. The designation would allow a project to receive special support to help speed up planning and approval. Conservatives have criticized the first projects being considered as low-hanging fruit, with their development already well underway. And a Calgary Legion branch has taken out to renting the venue for punk rock concerts and wrestling in order to pay for the 103-year-old building's upkeep. Royal Canadian Legion No. 1 President Phil McCauley says the membership is a bit low, but the branch is still making money.
Yeah, the wrestling that started about 3 years ago, I guess. And then, I call it the headbanging music, the raves, I guess you'd call them. They can be quite interesting.
McCauley says it is an old building and the branch is trying to raise $350,000 to replace the roof. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Weather brought to you by Linex Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McGuire Street. Partly sunny today and a high of 9. Tonight, going to be dropping to -2. Sunshine tomorrow and a high of +6. Wednesday, high of +5. Thursday, high of 7. And then Friday, 9 degrees.
For 40 years, the team from Linex Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment, ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. Linex Regina, 1865 McGuire Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Well, I'm Tegan Whitco, your host of the Monday Sports Cage. I am joined alongside the wonderful Curtis, who is keeping it all together back there behind the board. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, plenty to talk about after that West Final win for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 24-21 over the BC Lions, and now getting set for the Grey Cup in Winnipeg. A reminder, for the Grey Cup this weekend, we're going to get to our Western Pizza guest hotline here in just a moment. But if you are thinking about grabbing some za, which you probably should, don't cook. That's boring. Pre-order with Western Pizza, okay? Sunday for the game. Every location will be busy, but they still want to make sure that they can serve you, okay? So it's super simple. You can give them a call, pre-order in advance, and just tell them what you're looking for. You can even do it online if you don't want to talk to a human being on the phone, and which I totally understand. I get it. This is the Monday Sports Cage for Kellen Solar, installing solar in residential and commercial buildings for over 35 years. Local and trusted, that is Kellen Solar, kellensolar.com. Now, all the coaches are a little MIA right now en route to Winnipeg, so we do have the Riders Coaches Show with a bit of a stand-in.
It's time for the Sports Cage Riders Coaches Show for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Get your 50-50 tickets now for all Rider home and away games. Riders5050.ca and Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Hey, Tegan, I did coach my touch football team for 3 plays before I got fired back in 2013. So, incompletion, punt. That was my coaching career. So,
you are still technically a coach then, so it fits, right?
I think I was decertified midway through the first series. So.
Well, we're going to play to your strengths today, my friend. Great follow on Twitter, by the way. If you don't already follow Rob Vanstone, you should. I don't even know how you have that much room in your brain for all of the statistics that you pour on us during the game. But what a game it was on Saturday, Rob. West champs, thriller of a finish at Mosaic Stadium. And the Riders are off to a Grey Cup in Winnipeg, facing the Montreal Alouettes. You got your bags all packed?
Yeah, including the bags under my eyes. Everything is packed. So there's no room in my brain, but there's plenty of room on a MacBook, and that's where all this stuff resides. Thank goodness for my wife, Chrysula, who handled everything from actually finding the suitcase to reminding me what I needed to bring. So without her, I would still be somewhere in Albert Park, just kind of trying to hitch a ride. But it's really amazing to think that, this feels like a kind of a normal Monday afternoon at, I hesitate to call it the office because this is far too amazing to be called an office. But it's just, it seems like an ordinary afternoon. People are just tending to their duties, but you see suitcases by certain people's desks, and that tells you something big's happening. And there's meetings, and we get to, there'll be a send-off, or there's a send-off today. We get to the airport in Winnipeg, and that's where I think it's really going to kick in, because there'll be media, there'll be everything, and it won't be a subtle entrance or subtle arrival in Winnipeg, and that's when it's really going to kick in.
It's going to be.
I start looking for a good coffee shop to do some writing over the next week.
It will be a whirlwind of a week for you and the rest of the Riders organization. But backing up to Saturday at Mosaic Stadium against the BC Lions, that was wild, Rob. 24-21. That last-minute play by touchdown Tommy was crazy. How would you place that win among the most historic moments in Rough Rider playoff history? Where does it stack up?
Well, if you're looking at playoffs and excluding Grey Cups, that was the most dramatic Western final since 1972, coincidentally in Winnipeg. The Riders beat Winnipeg 27-24. I was 8 years old. Mom took me to the game. And on the last play, the Riders were down 24-7 in the third quarter. And Ronnie and George did their work, and Jack Abenshad kicked a field goal in the last play to send the Riders to the Grey Cup. So in terms of, playoff victories, there was a 1963 two-game total point series against Calgary. The Riders won 48-47 over 2 games. They lost the first game 35-9. And then they won the second game 39-12 to win the series by 1 point. There was a Jason Claremont touchdown in the West semifinal against BC in overtime in 2010. It's on that Mount Rushmore of amazing games. It was in terms of West final at Taylor Field, it's by far the most dramatic ending. And I've watched that play so many times, and the amazing thing is Trevor Harris put that football the only place you could put it. That was just amazing. Tommy Neal got open. He got the inside leverage, but Trev had to put the ball right there. Just what a perfect throw. And you look at some of the perfect throws he made during that game. The one to Tommy Neal, where there's 4 or 5 Lions in the picture. One to Kean Schaefer-Baker earlier in the game, where there's 4 Lions. He just layered the ball in. And that play, Tommy Neal, it's going to far outlive me as far as impact. Well, there's no impact from me, but but in terms of long after I'm gone, people are going to be showing that replay. That's the kind of momentous play that it was, and I'm glad the stadium was sold out, because I think anybody who wasn't there would have been had there been an empty seat, I think people would have been thinking, well, gee, maybe I should have gone. What a day. I could babble about that one forever, Tegan. And just, it's kind of neat that at 61 years old, you get to experience things like this, and they still get you charged up. You can't get blasé about anything like that, even if you've seen 14 million Rider games before. That's one of the elite few.
Yeah, I think I might have rewatched that touchdown about 20, 30, maybe 50 times at this point. It was just such a critical moment in that game. But you know what, Rob? Stats only tell a part of the story. Momentum, emotion, key plays, they matter big time, obviously. It won them the game. But what standout or maybe non-statistical moment from the game do you think helped shift that outcome despite, what the numbers show?
I think if you look at, numbers show yards after catch, but they don't show what is done to get those yards after catch. And how many series were extended? Some series have turned into touchdowns because Samuel Emelis carried a defender 2 or 3 yards. Joe Robustelli did the A.J. Ouellette on the final drive. And those turned 8 yards into 11. They turned second or third and short into first downs. And so much has been made this year about the intangibles that members of that receiving corps possess, and their willingness to block and do the things that don't show up statistically. And that was done in abundance too. If you look at A.J. Ouellette with 17 carries for 113 yards, but the yards after catch and the determination there. BC's final full series, 2nd and 3, and it goes down as a sack for a marginal loss by A.J. Allen. But what they don't show is that A.J. sheds a blocker. And Jameer Thurman is right there, and C.J. Rivas is right there, and the perfect defensive call was made. Things like that, they don't show up, but in a game that close, there's so many things that had one play, one one motion gone in one direction or the other, it could have influenced that game. That's how close it was. And from the moment that, Rough Riders got their first stop of BC on those back-to-back 2-and-outs, the Rough Riders pretty much needed everything to go their way, and they made everything happen. There wasn't really a blemish to be found.
We do need to talk about the kick, Rob. Head coach Corey Mace making a bit of a questionable decision, according to the fans. You were in the building. You heard the people freaking out, deciding to kick it rather than going in for that touchdown. From a historical perspective, though, how does that decision compare to other critical coaching choices in these big Rider games?
I was trying to think of a precedent for that one. And you look at the tail end of halftime in the 2009 Grey Cup, and Andy Fantuz, right before halftime, caught a long pass and was knocked out of bounds of the 2, and there was enough time for one play. And at that point, Ken Miller had to make the decision. Do I go for the field goal or do I kick? Now, the way that game turned out, Rough Riders lost it by 1. Ken was second-guessing himself for years about should I have gone for the touchdown there. But in a game where everything matters that much, I think you take the points. I didn't take issue with Ken Miller's decision on November 29th, 2009. And the Corey Mace decision didn't irk me one bit. A friend of mine texted me right after that decision was made and just sent me 3 question marks. And I said, what Corey is doing here that maybe doesn't get recognized is he's also buying insurance. If you look at the way Nathan Rourke was moving the football prior to that, if, say, the Riders gamble on 3rd and 5 and don't make it, the way Rourke has been moving the ball, who's to say he doesn't move the ball down and get a field goal? And then it's a 2-possession game, and it's game over. So he was also, with that field goal, buying some insurance in case BC did move the ball down the field. And it turns out the Riders got some stops, and that field goal ended up putting the Rough Riders in position for the game-winning touchdown as opposed to the game-tying touchdown. So people can say hindsight is 20/20, but I could show you a text that I sent right to my friend before the field goal was even attempted, saying Corey is buying insurance. And what a policy that turned out to be.
No kidding. I think Dave Thomas. Oh, no. Appreciate it. I think Dave Thomas has been spending a lot of time around you, Rob, because he wrote up this article. It's at sportscage.com, and it's looking at all of the connections between numbers, and it's actually pretty cool. With 13:46 left in the second quarter, BC kicker Sean White hit the upright from 42 yards out, the same upright Cody Fajardo struck in the 2019 West Final, the last time the Riders hosted the game. There's a lot of other connections that he makes in this way. Brett Lawther lines up for the 13-yard field goal late in the fourth quarter in front of a restless crowd, the self-proclaimed 13th man. There's a lot of these connections. Are there any that jump off the page to you that maybe the average fan wouldn't think about?
Well, Brett has talked a few times about the empty panes at the north end of the stadium. It says Grey Cup champions. There's one for 66, 89, 2007, 2013, and then there's 2 spaces to their right. And Brett has talked many times that when he's attempting a field goal at that end of the stadium, he looks through the uprights and he sees those panes, and he wants to add one to that. So I thought, well, what end of the stadium did Brett attempt his last field goal? Basically at the north end, and there are those 2 empty panes. And this is the person who told me numerous times you want to fill those slots. So I thought of that one a bit, and I did think of the upright. Because the previous time a Western Final had been played here, that was the piece of construction in the end zone that the ball boinked off of. So I saw that and I thought, well, maybe there's some equilibrium at work here, and you never know how to quantify that or even account for it. But I did find some irony or at least coincidence in it, and now we'll just cross our fingers and hope that there's more things continue to balance out next Monday, because the Rough Riders are owed some Grey Cups.
Well, you said it. Next Sunday, Riders, Alouettes in Winnipeg. Now, from your perspective, having followed this team for such a long time and really, really knowing all of the minutia and the statistics and these incredible storylines in the franchise's history, how do you think the team is feeling knowing that they're going to be in their rival's barn, potentially lifting that Grey Cup? What have those conversations sounded like?
I was thinking about that today. I was coming to the stadium because I really haven't asked that question of any of them yet. I've thought about it, but as things unfold in Winnipeg, I'm sure they're going to be asked that question a million times. I'm interested to see what the composition of the crowd will be. How many Bombers fans held on to their tickets after the Bombers were beaten by Montreal? How many Rider fans are going to be there compared to Bombers fans? Which way is the crowd going to lean? I'm really interested in the disbursement of tickets and how many of them have gone from people in Manitoba to people in Saskatchewan or people anywhere else in Canada that support the Roughriders. So the composition of the crowd is going to be interesting. I'm not sure what the representation is going to be for Montreal. They have some staunch fans that travel well, but I remember what it was like in Calgary in 2009, Edmonton 2010, and Montreal was in both those Grey Cup games, and that felt like a Rider home game. The Winnipeg factor might make things interesting. I don't quite remember what it was like in 1931 when the Riders played the Montreal Winged Wheelers. I was too young at the time, but I'll get back to you on that one. I think I was in grade 6.
Rob, do you think this rivalry is more for the fans than it is the players? I know they got a little chippy. Trevor Harris specifically got a little bit chippy in the pre-game media availability last week. But do you think this is something the fans enjoy more than the players do in your experience?
I think the players generally filter that stuff out. People talk about bulletin board material, and I've never really subscribed to that. You look at the 1969 Super Bowl, and right before that, Joe Namath of the New York Jets said, "We're going to win, I guarantee it." And the Jets were expected to lose by like 15, 16, 17 points to the Baltimore Colts. And the Jets won 16-7. And the guaranteed win and the brashness and bravado of Joe Namath didn't suitably inspire the Baltimore Colts, heavily favored, to win the Super Bowl game. So I think that stuff is generally overrated. It was a little fun when Willie Jefferson and Davis Alexander started going at it verbally before the East semifinal. But once the game's on the field, I don't think any of that stuff matters. And if you need that stuff, that means you just aren't suitably or sufficiently motivated before that. And I worry about someone if they need that stuff to really get themselves pumped up, if the bulletin board material is going to make the difference. Because if that's the case, well, why weren't you? Trevor Harris has said it a million times. Like, people say you're going to give more, because it's a big game and you're really jacked up for this game. I always give 100%, whether it's a practice, whether it's a meeting, whether it's a scrimmage, a preseason game, or a playoff game. You can't give more than 100%. You got to treat everything seriously. So if you're already giving 100%, how do you exceed that? And you should, as a baseline, be giving that 100% before anything is said in the media. I think that's all for the fans and the media and hype, and I think it's all delicious, great fun. And well done, Trevor.
Should be the motivation, right? Yeah, absolutely. Get those fans hyped.
Trevor is the best. Trevor's the best.
Well, your bags are packed. You're ready to go. You're leaving on a jet plane. I understand it's a full plane, though, so unfortunately the pup Penny isn't going to be coming along with?
Yeah, Candy's going to be...
Candy, pardon me.
Sorry. I had to give her a plug. Sorry. No, I'm gonna miss her. I promised to FaceTime her hourly, and we'll have a nice reunion on Monday, and I hope to bring her a green Grey Cup Champions doggy scarf. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, Rob Vanstone, senior journalist, historian with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I know you've had a very, very busy start to your week already, so I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Oh, thanks for your time, Tegan. It's always a pleasure, and look forward to any follow-ups you'd like to do.
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely be in touch, Rob. Have a safe trip.
Take care. Yeah, thanks so much, Tegan. Take care.
And of course, that was your Riders Coaches Show with special guest Rob Vanstone. It is brought to you by the Saskatchewan Roughrider 50/50 Foundation. Plenty of exclusive giveaways and unique experiences up for grabs, including, sports trips, destination vacations. In fact, there is a new early bird prize to be won every game, including this Grey Cup game. A variety of different ticket packages you can buy. Get your tickets online at riders5050.ca. This week's early bird prize, a trip to Portugal and Spain. Package for two includes round-trip flights from Saskatchewan, 8 days, 7 nights in Portugal and Spain, tours all over the place. You can tour Toledo and so much more. And if you don't want to take the trip, maybe you want to stay in the cold Saskatchewan winter. That's cool too. Take $13,500 in cash. Now that deadline is this Friday at 5 o'clock, riders5050.ca. The Coaches Show also brought to you by Steelcraft Doors and, of course, the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. This is the Sportscage, the home of Rider Nation. Watch the stream at sportscage.com and YouTube. Coming up next, more football talk.
Elevate your baling experience with the Heston by Massey Ferguson 1 Series Round Baler. With a dependable, long-lasting design for challenging conditions and high-speed baling, this machine features swing-away net loading and an optional hydraulic drop floor for easy obstruction clearing. Quality hay production starts today with Heston by Massey Ferguson. See the Massey Ferguson 1 Series Round Baler at Nick's Service in Emerald Park. For more information, visit nickservice.com.
What's going on in the markets? When is the right time to invest? What should you do with your money today? When Linda had questions, she talked to Brian Golly.
He's always well prepared and has answers for us. We take it as gospel, and he's led us down the right path so far.
You don't have to plan your financial future alone. Call Brian Golly of Smart Investing Solutions. 306-546-2533.
We would recommend Brian anytime, and we would recommend him to anybody.
Thank you, Rider Nation. The Riders Foundation 50-50 jackpots have been massive this season, and it's all thanks to you. When you buy your 50-50, you're supporting amateur football across the province. And now the Riders are back in the Grey Cup with a guaranteed payout of $250,000. But we know it'll be bigger than that. Don't get hit with regret. Buy your 50-50 tickets at riders5050.ca. And let's bring the Grey Cup to Saskatchewan.
Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC. Lottery license LR250011.
Do you have a safety program or OHS committee? Call Campbell Safety. Harassment in the workplace? Call Campbell Safety. Don't know if you have a proper safety program? Call Campbell Safety. Once you have an injury, it's too late to have a safety program. Be proactive with Campbell Safety Consulting. They'll come out and customize your safety program and be that extra set of eyes you need. 35 years experience doing health and safety, and they have seen it all, and then some. Call them today and get a free consultation. Campbell Safety Consulting.
The Sportscage Clutch Performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077.
Yes, let's get to your clutch performers because we're going to be doing multiple here. But I want to start off with our first clutch performer, Dace Durkach. First goal as a Regina Pat yesterday.
Turned it over. Puck is chipped out by Fawcett. 2-on-1 shorthanded. Fawcett right side. Centering pass. Scores! First is a Regina Pat for Dace Durkach. What a moment for Dace Durkach as he makes it 7-1 Pats with a shorthanded goal. 6 minutes to go in the third. In the building where his dad made his name.
Ooh. Nice little shorthanded snipe there from Dace Durkach. You know, Curtis, he was just on the show with us last week. Maybe that means this is good luck? I don't know. Keets Fawcett is coming later, so we'll see how he does. Yeah. Who's your clutch performer?
I'm gonna go with Rob Vanstone for taking some time when all the Rough Rider coaches were a little bit busy packing up, going to the Grey Cup, and stopping in for the coaches show and giving us some sweet insight and doing Rob things with all of his knowledge of history with the Rough Riders and all that jazz.
Rob always comes in clutch, but that is a good one. That's a good one. I have one more. I'm sorry, I know it's supposed to be one. I'm doing 3. No one else is here to tell me not to do that. So this one actually came in through the Prairie Land Rentals text line, which, by the way, if you text us on, you have a chance to win 3 days Grace tickets here in Regina. They're going to be playing in April. Just announced that show today. So you text in, you call us, you got a chance to win. Okay. This one came through the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Huge congratulations to the Watrous Wildcats and especially to their coach, Barry Croshaw, who will, and in brackets says may, be retiring from coaching Wildcat football after this year. Barry retired from teaching a couple of years ago, but still helped coach high school ball. He also helped coach the Saskatoon Valkyries since retiring. So there's your other clutch performer. We got to give a shout out there to Barry Croshaw. So that is your clutch performer. For Nick Service and Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer, call 781-1077. I promise I will figure this out eventually. But again, yes, if you want to text us, you got a chance to win those tickets. Chime in, join the conversation. If you got questions for our guests, you can also toss those our way. 306-936-6262. Let's take a quick break, and we will be back on the other side to talk some Hilltops. It's the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and our YouTube channel.
The days are shorter, it's colder out, you're heading home, and your stomach is making that sound like it's sucking up to your spine. How about a delicious Western pizza? Imagine it, a golden, crispy crust holding a mountain of melty cheese, savory pepperoni, fresh veggies, and that perfect drizzle of sauce. Every bite is warm and exactly what your cold, hungry self ordered. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today, before your stomach starts making demands.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Extreme Hockey and Sport are your hockey experts. Locally owned, committed to the community and each of their customers. With their customer rewards program, Extreme Hockey Bucks, the price match guarantee, and now proud to announce their new e-commerce platform for ease of purchase and your convenience. Their expertise and commitment raise them high above the competition. Come experience the Extreme Hockey difference. 1425 McIntyre Street, conveniently located at the Cooperator Center and online at extremehockey.net.
This fall, the eyes of Canadian university football turn to Regina. The University of Regina, City of Regina, and U Sports proudly host the 60th anniversary of the Vanier Cup, Saturday, November 22nd at Mosaic Stadium. It's the first time Regina welcomes this historic championship, showcasing the best in Canadian university football. Tickets start at just $10 for youth and students, $20 for adults, and kids under 5 are free. That's Saturday, November 22nd, Mosaic Stadium. Get your tickets now at vaniercup.com.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. Combined with a LiftMaster opener, it's the right choice. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. And a LiftMaster opener. 100% made by Canadians for Canadians. Steady, tariff-free pricing and great quality, no matter what.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
Don't miss a minute of Sportscage. Podcasts are posted at sportscage.com. 620 CKRM.
Thanks for taking the time to join myself. I'm Tegan Whitco, your Monday host of the Sports Cage. Not to worry, Barney will be back in tomorrow and through the rest of the week. Hanging out with me here in the studios in downtown Regina, Curtis, my guy, running the board. Appreciate it as always. Now, we just had our clutch performers, and I was going to include our next guest here, but I figured since we were going to have a conversation, I would save it for now. Joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline, which, by the way, make sure you pre-order for Sunday if you want to get some pies for the Grey Cup. You can do it online, or you can, of course, always call them. But Tom Sargent is our next guest joining us. Tom is the head coach of the Saskatoon Hilltops. Thanks for doing this, buddy. You had quite the weekend.
Yeah, not bad. You know what? It was certainly, it was what it was. It was quite a grind, but that sort of summed up our season all year. And to finish it at our home stadium with our fans and our family and everyone together and all the tradition, all the alumni, it couldn't have gone any better.
Gritty win, fresh off winning the Canadian Bowl Championship, as you mentioned, on home field, the 24th national championship in club history, so that's really exciting. 21-18, the final, so congratulations. What was it like playing that game at home, Tom?
Well, it was great. It was an unbelievable atmosphere. Okanagan, certainly, they brought their fans, they brought their tradition. They're well-traveled ball club, have been in a lot of big games. So we knew we were up against it, and we got a decent lead at halftime. But then they're so skilled, and they had a lot of good athletes, and so we were struggling at times. We gave up some chunk plays and some big drives, but we knew the game was going to come down to the end. And as I said, our players just clutched up, and coaches made the right calls at the right time. And we're able to walk away with a phenomenal win, kicking a field goal with 30 seconds left, and then intercepting the ball. It sort of sealed the game. As I said, it's who we've been all year, and as I said, such a battle-tested group of kids that thrived in these moments and prepared for the moments and took advantage of it. And as I said, to feel all the emotion, all the energy coming through from the stands onto the field was just absolutely second to none.
So the championship game, of course, it was tight. Your offense built a lead. Okanagan came back to tie it up late in the game, and then you executed on that final drive, as you mentioned. What was the communication like on the sidelines with the players to get that fire under their belly?
Well, we're in a bit of a hurry-up mode. It started off with a great, they had to kick the ball off because they scored with, a minute 30 left. So, they kicked the ball off, and Charles Sowie had a really good return, got it back to about the 45, and then we put the ball in David Collins' hands a little bit, and he started rocking it, and the old line started getting off the ball. We changed up a formation, and we just like 6 yards, 7 yards, and we started grinding it out a little bit, and then had to make a decision at the end how we wanted to finish the game. And there's no question we were going to end up with our fourth-year kicker, Ryden Grattan, who came in with ice water in his veins, and a 37-yard field goal. He couldn't have hit it any more pure, any more straight, right down Main Street. But then we knew the game wasn't done yet. We still had to stay together, play together, and as I said, Coach Yalzi and his defense did a real good job of executing a call, and we undercut a play and intercepted the ball. Kid went down, and celebration was on.
I love that. You mentioned him by name, David Collins, Canadian Bowl Offensive Player of the Game. He carried the load offensively. 26 rushes, 143 yards, 2 tutties in that championship game, if these stats are correct. That's impressive. What did you see from him in terms of his preparation and execution that allowed him to perform at that level?
Well, Dave, number one, he's a star human being, and came in. This was only his 22-year-old for 1-year player, and just brought a swagger and a confidence, and then filtered down to everybody else. And boy, one of his touchdown runs, I think he broke about 6 tackles. It was we took a holding call, we scored a touchdown, we got called for holding, they moved it back, and he certainly stepped up and took advantage of that situation. And as I said, every time he got the ball, he just uplifted us. And he's a massive reason why we're able to win. And as I said, couldn't be more proud of that kid and for what he meant to a team, what he means to me, and what he means to the organization.
So aside from David Collins, were there any other specific leadership or character growth moments within the team, maybe some unexpected guys who stepped up and really contributed to the championship run?
Oh, all 40 guys that had a uniform on had to put their hand in the pile. Like Hunter Johnson, second-year rush in, had a great knockdown and intercept the ball on about our 15-yard line where they were marching. Just a great tempo play that flipped the field, and little things like that all along the way that just sort of happened. That there's always 5 to 8 plays. You don't know when they happen and how they impact the game, but we were on the better end of that, when I've gone through the game. And, as I said, everyone had a piece. Isaac Michalik inside was a top defensive player. He certainly, they like to run the ball. They had a big old line, but, he always got off the blocks and was able to corral their real good running back. And then Charles Sowie, was a special teams player of the game, and he had some big key punt returns, kick returns, and helped to flip the field. So Charlie Mulder, as a punter, did a real good job of kicking the ball out of bounds. They had great returns. So we just played smart and kept the game in front of us, and we never, ever really gave them a lot of momentum, because anytime you watch them in film, they're such a team that thrives on momentum, and we weren't going to give it to them. And strategically, that was a big difference in the game.
Ultimately, of course, the Hilltops come out on top, but it was not an easy opponent. Talk about how you managed to shut down Okanagan and really what that game plan looked like and how you adjusted in game.
Yeah, well, it wasn't easy. As I said, as anything, when you watch them on film, we haven't seen him in. Last time I think we played them was 2015. So I know Regina Thunder played him a couple of times. So we watched some of that film. But every team always changes. But we didn't realize how athletic, how big and strong they were, and so we certainly went to a double tight formation at times defensively. We had to bring a little bit of pressures and change it up a little bit. But that always didn't help us. So then we fell back into more of a zone concept and and which I think sort of helped us at the end. And you know, it's just, as I said, the coaches put together such a good game plan. But most importantly, I've always said, I don't care how smart my coaches are, it's how smart my players are. And the guys that got on the spots, got in the situations, you know, this was our best game of the year, no question about it. And for us to figure out and to grind, figure out how to get a win, you know, unbelievable for our tradition, our legacy, our history. And when you say that number 24 national championships, boy, that means a lot. And pretty proud of everyone for how big or how small their role was to make this happen.
I am by no means saying that anybody was discounting the Hilltops to go all the way at the beginning of the season, but it did start off a little bit rocky, some early losses in the year, you know, some rotation at QB. So how did you really keep the guys lifted up and kept their spirits going? Because it wasn't a perfect season, but they never are perfect seasons, Tom.
No. Well, I don't know if I did a good job of lifting up spirits. If anything, I was doing the opposite because we were brutal, just flat out brutal. And, you know, I knew we always set a goal every year, but every team sets the same goal. But, you know, we always have, you know, lofty expectations, and so when we didn't come out at the beginning and we weren't playing the way we needed to be playing, that's on me. I didn't do a good enough job getting this team ready week in and week out. So, you know, I think right after the bye we sort of got things figured out. And then when we went down to Regina, and they were playing real good football. We went into Regina and beat them. I think that started to give the players understand your expectation of how we need to play and how we need to do it. And then sort of from there, you could tell now we were starting to climb that mountain in the right direction. And, you know, and then, hey, coach, 2 weeks ago, you know, you're down 15 points with 8 minutes left. Most teams ain't getting out of that one. And so, as I said, just a strong belief system and a real stubbornness to compete. And as I said, those are the biggest reasons why we're national champions.
That's got to feel good to say. National champions.
Yeah.
You have your year-end player awards coming up later this week, a chance to celebrate the successes and individual performances. I bet that is going to be a party.
Well, it was certainly one last night, I'll tell you that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We certainly had a good old time last night, and you know, to see all the alumni back coming into the clubhouse and all that, and then we went to a certain location and see all the family, all the pride, just everything that comes together. It just made it so gratifying to see all the love and support that took place to make stuff like this happen. And as I said, 2025 is going to be remembered as a very special year. And, you know, son of a gun, we've won 2 out of the last 3. So, hey, we're getting hungry for the next one. And this team's pretty good at chasing down that Canadian Cup.
Always looking ahead. I love that. And you know what? It was a huge football weekend here in Saskatchewan.
Yes.
I mean, you had the Hardy Cup, your game, the West Final. Did you have a chance to, well, you played on Sunday, yesterday, so I assume you and the boys maybe got together and watched that West Final at Mosaic Stadium?
Well, we watched the Hardy Cup final. We watched the Roughriders, you bet. All, you know, so it had us feeling pretty good going into yesterday. So, you know, as I said, it was a great weekend for football. You know, especially in Saskatoon and then in Regina. So, you know, anytime that happens, that puts a smile on a lot of people's faces. So, as I said, real proud to be a part of it.
So let's talk a little bit about that Rider game, if you don't mind. What were some key takeaways in that victory for the Saskatchewan Roughriders over the BC Lions? Any teachable moments you passed along to your players?
Well, it's just real simple. Look at the resilience. You know what? Things weren't looking good for a while, but just their belief system, too. You know, the Riders have been one of the best teams all year in the regular season, and that confidence and poise stayed with them right at the end when they had to make some tough calls, some good decisions, and the players executed. So, you know, it reminds me exactly how we had to finish our game yesterday. And, you know, poise and confidence takes you a long ways, but it's easy to talk about. It's tough to possess, and as coaches, that's why you gotta create the moments and still the challenges in them. So when they get there, that they stay at a certain level to go out there and do what you know and they know needs to be done.
So as a coach, Corey Mace takes that gamble, decides not to go for it, but to kick it late in that fourth quarter. What was your opinion on that decision-making process? Obviously, it worked out in the end, but if it didn't, it might not be so good for Rider Nation.
Well, that's a very good question. I certainly, and I've learned not to second guess any coach because, you can second guess me every step of the way. But, yeah, I know if I was in that situation, I would have went for the touchdown. I would have went for the touchdown, not the field goal, because, at the end of the day, you still needed a touchdown anyway. So I just would have went after it. But, hey, also he had a blueprint. He had a plan, and whatever it was, they got it right. So, hey, there's always a couple different ways to look at it, to do it. And when you're heat of the moment, you got to trust your gut.
Well, and Tom, I was just about to mention that because I've never coached a football game before. You definitely have. Is trusting your gut really what you need to lean on in some of those clutch moments?
That's certainly what I do. I certainly, you watch the NFL, it's a game of analytics now, and they got everything down to a science. But, I'm not going there. I certainly, as I said, I got to feel how we're playing. Who do I trust? What's the right call at the right time? I got to challenge my coaches in the moments to see, if they're selling or telling me the right story. So, I always play it out. And then just like yesterday, it was 3rd and 2. We could have, 37-yard field goal in junior football still is, that's not a slam dunk. And, so we easily could have went for it, or we could have tried to punt it through the end zone. A lot of different thoughts went through my mind. And so I had to go with what I thought was the best thing for us to win in that moment. And that was the field goal. And lucky that turned out. So, yeah, I'm a big believer in what you see, what you feel, looking at the kids, getting that eye test, and then going from there.
Yeah, it's one thing to look at X's and O's on paper. It's a whole different game when you're out on the field, right, Tom?
That's correct. You bet. Hey, what do you say? Is the X and O's or is it the Jimmies and the Joes? You know what? At the end of the day, it's the players that make the plays.
Absolutely. Now looking ahead to next week, or I guess this weekend in Winnipeg, Riders, Owls, you got Mace versus Moss. What are you looking forward to in this game?
Well, I'm looking for that D-line from the Riders, what they've done all year, to just get after that quarterback, get a lot of pressure on them, and then, to turn that ball over to the offense. It's probably going to be – there's going to be some conditions there in Winnipeg, right? It's going to be a little colder. So, love to get that D-line going in on that quarterback and get Olette and that O-line getting off the ball and getting some first downs and play act and let Harris get that ball down the field. And, I see a big-time win by the Riders this year, and couldn't be super more pumped for this game to show up on Sunday. Can't wait.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Tom Sargent taking the Riders in the Grey Cup this weekend in Winnipeg. I keep getting too ahead of myself here, but no, thank you very much for the time, Tom. Sure appreciate it. And hey, man, congratulations again on the win. That is so cool. Of course, the Saskatoon Hilltops, Canadian Bowl champs yet again.
Appreciate you and thank you for everything. Thanks very much.
Enjoy the celebrations this week.
Okay, we shall. Bye-bye.
Take care. And of course, Tom Sargent, Saskatoon Hilltops head coach, joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. It's the pizza that's known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection. And during the Grey Cup game on Sunday, if you are looking to order some pizza, call ahead, okay? They're popular for a reason. And people are going to be very, very much so wanting their Western pizza. So call in advance, order online. They got you. They just need a little bit of a heads up. That's all. Still plenty more to come, including your sprinkle of the day. We got the sports ticker, that and so much more coming up on the home of local sports. Streaming at sportscage.com and our YouTube as well. This is the Sportscage on 620 CKRM.
Boarding for Flight 246 to Edmonton is delayed 50 minutes.
What?
Sounds like Ojo time.
Play Ojo? Great idea.
Field of fun with all your favorite games like Wolf Gold and Joker's Jewels. Plus exclusive ones you won't find anywhere else. Groovy.
Hey, I won.
Feel the fun. Play Ojo.
Boarding will begin when passenger Fisher is done celebrating.
Yes!
Open to all players 18 and older. This is not a gambling site. Please play responsibly.
Year-end clearance has arrived at Crestview Chrysler, and we're blowing out all new 2025 inventory. Ram, Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, every badge, every body style. If it's a new 2025, it's marked down to move. Get up to $21,000 off select new 2025 Ram 1500s. And get up to $18,000 off select new 2025 Jeep Wranglers. Do not miss your chance to get massive savings. It's year-end clearance only at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Cowabunga, dudes! You won't believe what's popping at Glassers TV, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
Yeah, they've got radical top-of-the-line cell phones. Even April O'Neil ditched her news van for one of these babies.
Plus, SaskTel internet's so fast, even Shredder couldn't slow it down. Perfect for streaming, gaming, or ordering extra-large pizza.
So shell out to Glassers TV, your SaskTel authorized dealer, dudes.
Glassers TV, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Moosomin today. Totally tubular.
Back to our regular spot, Pump Jacks Cathedral.
You know, I thought Pump Jacks was a kind of boot polish till last month.
What are you getting?
Kerwin's crispy ribs and a cold pint of local craft. Crispy, meaty, beautiful.
You had me a meaty.
Plus, we got live music on the weekends, big screens. This place is basically my second marriage.
And way cheaper than the first.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
Country Corner, brought to you by Municipal Hail Insurance. Proudly serving farmers. MunicipalHail.ca.
Mosaic Stadium is playing host to the Vanier Cup on Saturday, November 22nd. Join U Sports, the University of Regina, and the City of Regina for this historic celebration of Canadian university football. Tickets at uregina.ca/event. Canadian Western Agribition kicks off November 24th at the Real District. Saddle up for 6 full days of action, including the Maple Leaf Circuit Finals Rodeo, Trade Show, Commercial Cattle Show, and much more. Check out the full event schedule and tickets at agribition.com. And don't miss your chance to see George Canyon and Aaron Burchett at Dance Land at Manitou Beach, a coast-to-coast cowboy Christmas matinee, Friday, December 5th, starting at 2:30. The evening show sold out fast, so get your tickets before these are all gone at danceland.ca.
For more information, visit 620ckrm.com. It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport, Regina's locally owned one-stop hockey shop. Now with a price match guarantee. 1425 McIntyre Street.
All right, let's see what's on slate here for tonight. In the SJHL, we got the Kindersley Clippers in the Battlefords to take on the Stars. Prairie Junior Hockey League, Moosomin Steelhawks at Regina Capitals. The Philadelphia Eagles will be traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers in Week 10 action as they wrap up the week. And the lone Canadian team in the NHL is the Edmonton Oilers as they play host to the Columbus Blue Jackets. And if you missed it earlier, we had Brendan McGuire on talking about that heartbreaking Rams loss in the Hardy Cup. You can always go back and rewatch that in podcast form or on YouTube as well. But yeah, they lost that heartbreaker to the Saskatoon Huskies. However, the Huskies now advance to the Mitchell Bowl. They'll be taking on Queens this weekend, so plenty to set the stage as the week progresses here. In our Sportscage.com poll, who do you think should be the MVP of the CFL West Final? The options: Tommy Neal, touchdown Tommy, Trevor Harris, AJ Ouellette, and Nathan Rourke. So what do you think? You can certainly go vote at sportscage.com. That is the sports ticker. It's brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport. And of course, you can always text us your answers to that question as well, because everybody who texts us today or gives us a call immediately entered to win 3 days Grace tickets. They just announced that show. It's coming here to Regina April 25th. Finger 11 Royal Tusk going to be opening up that show. Tickets aren't even on sale yet. Man, we can hook you up with tickets before you can even buy them. So again, the Prairie Land Rentals text line is 306-936-6262. So if you'd like to give us a call or text us, either way works. You'll get an entry. It's that simple. Now I think it's time for the sprinkle of the day, Curtis.
Sprinkle time.
Sprinkle time. Okay, so if you want to get in on some of this sports action, it's as easy as playing at sportselect.com. All you have to do, make your picks online, and then you get this QR code. So you can lock it in and place your bet at your local lotto spot retailer. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way and go fill everything out by hand. But this is much easier if you just do it all online, get that QR code, and then go handle business at your local lotto spot retailer. Every bet 100% legal with the chance of winning cash in hand at Sports Select. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus, and please play responsibly. So I'm looking at this Columbus Blue Jackets Edmonton Oilers game, 7:30 tonight in Edmonton. Ooh, the Oilers. I might have to take the Blue Jackets on that one. I was looking. Okay, let's look at what we got here in terms of the favorite. Okay, now Columbus Blue Jackets. Oh, okay. The Oilers actually favored to win this one, 1.5 points. So I'm still going to take the Blue Jackets on that one. You can also do futures. I don't know if you knew that or not, Curtis, but you can do future bets. Find out how you can bet on the winner of the Stanley Cup, the Super Bowl, the NBA Final, NCAA, soccer, NASCAR, and so much more. You can even bet on the Grey Cup right now. Currently, the Riders, 3.5-point favorites. Okay, so that should be interesting. If you would like to play along, again, make sure you hit it up at sportsselect.com. Get that QR code and then go to your local lotto spot retailer. That is your sprinkle of the day. Thank you, Curtis. I am probably not placing any bets, so I'm not going to be winning any money. But why don't we talk a little bit about that send-off party that they had over at Mosaic Stadium as we first started off the show. Dave Thomas joined us briefly. It was loud. You could hear the cowbells, probably the ones that we handed out at the West Final, the 620 CKRM ones with Believe on the other side. But yeah, she was loud. She was feisty. And they did have a couple of people get up and speak to the crowd before they hopped on the bus to go to the airport and then ultimately en route to Winnipeg. They're actually probably just arriving there, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, first and foremost, A.J. Allen.
I just want to say thank you. I'm just a kid from Burlington, but this is incredible. This is incredible. We are going to make you proud. Let's go, Rider Nation.
A.J. Allen, he knows how to fire up a crowd. Another big personality who got up and spoke with fans of Rider Nation before they left for Winnipeg, a Joe.
Ooh. Rider Nation!
Y'all ready? Y'all got faith in us, right? That's all I needed to hear. Thank you. Let's go!
If that doesn't fire you up as a Rider fan, I don't know what will. I think a Joe might be the biggest hype man on that sideline.
Yeah, consider me pumped. Also, I don't know if anyone will get a chuckle out of it, but when I was loading that up, sometimes you got to check audio levels and stuff, and I was...
You did not that time, did you?
No, well, I did, and then I was like, oh, am I playing it too loud? No, it was just a Joe just absolutely clipping that microphone, but
you know what?
We love to hear it.
It got the fans fired up, man. I'm fired up. Let's go. Sunday. We have to wait that long? Jeez.
Also, Dave Thomas named these files, and he named it a Joe a ho. So,
okay.
An H instead of a J. It's close on the keyboard. So
to be fair, I believe Dave Thomas is also en route to Winnipeg today, so he was probably in a hurry to get to the airport himself.
Yeah,
so,
we appreciate him though.
Yeah.
He was doing us a solid, as much as I'm making fun of him. But.
No, Dave Thomas and Luke Mullender will be in Winnipeg, and they will be joining the Sportscage, of course, for the rest of the week as the festivities get underway. But let's not get too in front of ourselves here, because head coach Corey Mace also addressed the crowd at the rally today.
How we feeling today? Hey, this is awesome, man. I know everybody really appreciates this. We appreciate you guys every day. Today's certainly a special one, but hopefully we can pack this place a little bit more on the way back. What you think? Much love, baby. Go Riders. Let's go.
Head coach Corey Mace just getting people fired up on the way to Winnipeg, probably already there at this point. And you know what? Earlier we did toss out the question, who should be the West Final MVP? What do you think? We told you to go vote at sportscage.com. We have that poll up there. Tommy Neal, Trevor Harris, AJ Ouellette, or Nathan Rourke. And lots of input coming in through the Prairie Land Rentals text line right now, largely throwing support behind Trevor Harris, which
Yeah.
He's had an okay season, I would say, Curtis.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, he's been all right,
I have to double check with Rob, but there was a point where he was going for his record for most games with over 70% completion rate, like in a row. I think he did crack it, but I don't recall the number of games that he did that to. Like it was like something like 10 or 12, or I would have to Google it.
He had an absolutely sensational year, at least up until this point. And I mean, Trevor Harris is one of those guys who's been to the Grey Cup. He has been there. He knows what it's like. He's lived through it, but he's never done it as a starter. So he's been there a few times, but this would be his opportunity, that feather in his cap, so to speak, to actually do the season as a starter, go to the Grey Cup, and potentially win as a starter. So I feel like it's definitely an emotional opportunity for him. Whether or not he's going to say that to the media, I don't know, because last week all he was saying was, they're the big dogs. Do you think anyone's going to ask him about Davis Alexander? After his Nathan Rourke comments?
I hope so. And I hope he just sticks to it and it's like, I'm not here to talk about Davis Alexander.
Well, then we would barely have to edit the song.
Yeah, I mean, you could just swap a line out and then you're good to go. That's hype.
I'm all about making our jobs easier, apparently. Now, if you've missed any of the show so far today, of course, I'm Tegan, the Monday host, and that is Curtis behind the board, keeping everything in check. So far, really fun show. Really good conversation that we had with Brendan McGuire. Of course, Dave Thomas swung by briefly there. We also had Tom Sargent from the Saskatoon Hilltops join us after their big championship win over the weekend. So if you want to go back and listen to any of that in podcast form, you're more than welcome to do so wherever you get your podcasts. Or, of course, you can go to our YouTube channel as well. And we are not done yet. Okay, still plenty more on the way. In fact, Wes Keets is going to be swinging by. We're going to chat with Darian Durant, Keets Fawcett from the Regina Pats as part of our Pats Chat segment. So, yeah, pretty loaded 5 o'clock hour as we only have about 60 minutes to go here. And one more reminder that, yes, if you do text us, you're automatically entered to win 3 days Grace tickets, just announced to be performing at Brant Center, not Mosaic Stadium, Brant Center this spring. So if you want to win tickets before they go on sale on Friday morning, Curtis has them. He'll be randomly selecting a winner at the end of the show. So if you haven't already texted us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, do it now, okay? Talk to us about anything. Could have been anything that you heard in the show, or maybe you have a question for Darian Durant or Wes Keets or Keets Fawcett. Let us know. 306-936-6262. Brought to you by Prairie Land Rentals. Whatever you need to rent to get the job done, Prairie Land Rentals probably has it. Also an official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street. All right, let's throw it to news. We'll be back on the other side.
620 CKRM, a Harvard media station. Broadcasting from Regina, around the world at 620CKRM.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Corey Atkinson from the sasktoday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news for Echo Sound in Fort Qu'Appelle. Stay connected with the new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. A kitchen fire in Regina is currently under investigation. Today, firefighters were called to Corbett Road in Argyle Park at around 8:30 a.m. for reports of a small kitchen fire. Upon arrival, crews encountered smoke but managed to quickly extinguish the fire. Both a dog and a cat were rescued from the fire, while no injuries were reported. The cause of the fire is under investigation. The federal budget released last week has some big numbers on the red side of the ledger. For more on Premier Scott Moe's reaction to the federal budget, here's Sask Today's John Cairns.
The reaction in Saskatchewan to the federal budget focused mainly on a couple of items, one being the big deficit.
$78 billion, that's a big number. And we can all acknowledge that. It's large for two reasons. They've been significant investments, multi-year investments that are there, and they don't change in one budget year. There's increases in the investments this year, over $100 billion, and there's decreases as well, which I'm sure will be much talked about.
That was Premier Scott Moe, who also pointed to a challenging time in the Canadian economy. But Moe was particularly interested in the mention of infrastructure investment. That's something the province has been lobbying for after a provincial delegation went to Ottawa to call for cost-shared funding for municipal projects. Opposition leader Carla Beck made clear she was interested in a focus on trade-enabling infrastructure, pipelines, power lines, rail lines, and increasing port capacity. She said how quickly these things can get built will determine how well they weather the economic tariff storm. For SAS Today, I'm John Cairns.
Brand Industries has been fined after being found guilty in Regina Provincial Court for violating workplace safety rules under the Occupational Health and Safety Regulations. The company was convicted of failing to ensure only trained workers operated powered mobile equipment after a worker was seriously injured while using a forklift in September 2021. Brandt was ordered to pay a fine and surcharge totaling $55,000. The Ministry of Labour Relations and Workplace Safety continues working to prevent workplace injuries through education and enforcement. And more than 100 community members volunteered in an event to commemorate veterans of the Canadian Armed Forces ahead of the Remembrance Day in Kingston. Bill Anderson came to the Keets Cemetery to lay Canadian flags along the soldiers' graves to pay respect for the veterans.
Both my sons are in the military, and I'm paying my respect to them. It's a beautiful day to be out. You really can see a lot here, and it's time to reflect, too, and honor our fathers and aunts and uncles and all that served our country.
Established in 1850, Keets Cemetery is the final resting place of soldiers who fought in pre-Confederation wars, the two World Wars, as well as conflicts in Korea and Afghanistan. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Man, remember the good old days? Floppy disks, dial-up internet, and that time Stifler wrecked the prom?
Yeah, well, it's 2025 now. Time to grow up and grab a real laptop from Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
I'll set up SaskTel internet, maybe stream some Max TV, or relive the American Pie trilogy in glorious HD.
Upgrade that sad flip phone while you're at it.
Whoa!
Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Capel. EchoSound.ca.
Weather for Line-X Regina, Serious Protection, Killer Looks, 1865 McGuire Street, and Croft Electric. 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service for all electrical needs. CroftElectric.com and all socials.
Quiet weather overall for the next few days, in and out of cloud cover through the night, and occasionally the wind is up. Gusts upwards of 30 kilometers per hour at times, easing up a little bit through the night and then picking back up toward morning. It'll be a breezy, but mild day on Tuesday and a little breezy at times Wednesday, though the wind will finally come down from this whole stretch by Wednesday. Overnight, -2 is our low, with the wind up, wind chill closer to -10. Through the day on Tuesday, getting up to around 6 degrees. We've got positive temperatures right through this week. Even as we cool down toward the weekend, we'll likely stay at least above freezing. But we drop back to -4 Tuesday night under a clear sky. Wind chills under -10 for a while, and then that wind settles down Wednesday. Partly sunny sky, the high near 5. The coolest day of the week is Wednesday, pushing back to 7 on Thursday with a mixture of cloud and sunshine. A couple of passing showers on Friday. Most of the day just partly sunny and warm, up to 11. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
Dan from Croft Electric talks about why electrical work on the farm should be left to the professionals.
Focus on what you're good at. You're a good farmer, whether it's a grain farmer, it's a rancher, whatever it is, you focus on that. Let us take the electrical off your plate. Let us do it right, do it once, and we'll always be here when you need us in a pinch. And that way you have that peace of mind so you can sleep at night and not worry about electrical. Just worry about your farm. Do it right, do it once.
CroftElectric.com.
For 40 years, the team from Line-X Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment, ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. Line-X Regina, 1865 McGuire Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Well, thank you for joining us. I'm Tegan Whitco, your Monday host of the Sports Cage. Curtis alongside me, keeping us on track. And you, of course, hanging out with us. You can always feel free to text us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. Any text message that comes through instantly earns you an entry into the draw. 3 days grace was just announced for the Brandt Center coming up this spring. If you want to win some tickets, be nice to Curtis. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so this is the Sports Cage, brought to you by Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout to well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. And our next guest joining us, Darian Durant.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
Double D, thanks for coming on, buddy. Appreciate it. Western Pizza Guest Hotline. So,
absolutely.
We got to dive right in, man. I'm not sure if you heard the song that our producer put together here, but we were having some fun with Trevor Harris in his pregame media avails last week, saying, basically, we're the big dogs. And he's done talking about Nathan Rourke. Do you like that? Do you kind of like the level of intensity and him getting a little bit chippy with the media? Do you think that fires up the guys?
I mean, I love the confidence. I mean, at this point in his career, I mean, there's no need to take the humble route. I mean, you have you've been in Grey Cups, you've accomplished pretty much everything else that a quarterback can. So, and look, he has the team to back him up. It's definitely his time. I feel the exact same way. So I love the approach. I mean, I don't like being conservative. I mean, if you feel like you're the best team, and why not go out there and talk about it and be about it? And Davis Alexander, I'm sure, will do the same thing. He has been doing the same thing for Montreal with the little chippiness last week between himself and Willie Jefferson. So I love Trevor kind of going out the box a little bit and having this confidence. I've always known he's had it, but I'm glad everyone else is getting the chance to see it as well.
Yeah, to a certain point, it's probably a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, knowing that this is a guy who, we were just talking about it, he hasn't actually won a Grey Cup as a starter, and all people can talk about is this MOP Nathan Rourke. It's like, guys, shut up, I'm right here.
I don't think he was coming at it from that perspective. I mean, I just think that, especially in the playoffs, I think if this was earlier in the season, towards the end of the season, then Trevor would definitely tip his hat to Nathan. But, I mean, it's the playoffs, it's the Western Final. And it's enough about that. The regular season accolades have already been pretty much solidified. So at this point, Trevor's like, come on, let's just talk about this team. Let's talk about what we're doing, and let's not have to always, harp on what's going on somewhere else.
Well, let's shift over to Corey Mace. He took a few gambles in that West Final at Mosaic Stadium against the BC Lions. I mean, sending out the biggest one, I think, that most people are talking about today, sending out the kick team rather than going for it late in that game. He said he was just trusting his gut. It ended up working out for him, but you and I both know Rider Nation would have not been happy at all if it didn't go the Riders' way. How did you feel about him making that decision?
I thought it was a great decision. I mean, look, it's a huge game, of course, but you have to go with the statistics. You have to go with the percentages. And at that time of the game, you take points, and especially, this is the number one defense in the league. You have to lean on them. You have to go with your gut. He's a defensive coach, so I don't mind at all. I think a more gutsy call was the one in the third quarter where he hit where Trevor hit Schaefer Baker for a touchdown on third down. I think that was an amazing call by him, and and you don't hear much about that. And I think if he's going to take the blame for if it would have gone against him, you should definitely give him credit for that call in the third quarter as well. So I love it. I think that's just showing the ultimate confidence in your defense. And they forced BC to punt twice. So it's the right call, and I love the confidence that he has in his defense.
Definitely a lot of confidence in the defense, as you mentioned. But do you think that there is any level of, I don't know if protection is the right word for it, but Brett Lauther has not had his best season. And did he want to put that pressure on Brett to potentially get the game-winning field goal had he decided to go for the touchdown rather than kicking it? in that moment.
You can't think about that. I don't think that even crossed his mind, what's going on, the kicking situation. It's all about analytics, and it's all about playing the percentages. That's what most coaches do. They learn from some of the greats. And, you can't just make a quick decision because you're in a big game. You have to always realize situations. There's 3 minutes left. You have the number one defense, plenty of time on the clock. As we all know, both teams had 2 possessions. So, it's the right call, and I know that if the Riders would have lost the game, we wouldn't be hearing the end of it today. But regardless of the outcome, I still would agree with the call.
Absolutely. Who would you consider to be the MVP of that game for the Riders, or even Riders NBC? Who do you think would earn that?
Oh, wow. I think you have to give it to Trevor. I mean, look, he didn't have his best game. There was a ton of throws. I'm sure he wished that he could have kept the guys up on a couple throws, or, there was one late in the fourth quarter where him and the receiver were kind of not on the same page, and it ended up being an incompletion to a wide open guy. But I think him making those second level throws late in the game when the pressure's on, driving 75 yards, hitting Emulus down the field. These are some tough throws. If you look at BC's defense during that drive, they're all sitting at 15 to 20 yards back. So for him to fit them in these tight windows, with the game being on the line, and then throwing the slant at the end to Neal, I just think you have to give Trevor the nod in this game. He's definitely showed up when it mattered the most.
Yeah, that Tommy Neal touchdown was just a thing of beauty. Amar Doman does not agree. What do you think is going to happen there? Is there any way that the CFL can fine him for speaking out, saying that ball was on the ground? Like, is there going to be any punishment?
I think he may get a fine for that. I mean, as an owner, you just can't go against the refs. I'm sure whatever picture you saw, you feel strongly about it being an incomplete pass, but you definitely can't second guess the refs, especially on a public forum like that. So I think there'll be a fine. I get that he's passionate. But look, I mean, I think the replay officials, and I even agree that even if the ball did hit the ground, it's just not enough there to overturn it. So you just have to give them credit. They made a great play, and I definitely don't think the owner should come out, especially on his Instagram stories, and talk about it being an incomplete pass. I didn't like that.
Especially when it's the blurriest still shot known to man. Like, that was just a brutal photo. But
yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just not enough. You don't have enough evidence to overturn it. It was called a touchdown on the field, and for you to overturn something like that, you have to have, you just have to have full evidence, and it just wasn't there.
Absolutely. Now the Riders, they're shifting their focus. Montreal Alouettes, Grey Cup in Winnipeg this weekend. What do you think the Riders really need to focus on cleaning up? What would be kind of your 3 things that they need to clean up after watching them in the West Final against BC?
Well, one, I would think it would be the run game. I think the Riders definitely need to tighten up on the run game. BC went away from it, but they were averaging about 5 yards a pop. And, Stevie Scott last game against the Riders, he went for 125. And I think the Riders definitely have to make sure that their front 6 or 7 is ready to go, and they can stop the run. If you can't, then you make it easy for Davis Alexander. You put yourself in second and short situations, and that's when you have to come up and play man coverage, and you'll see the best of Davis Alexander if that happens. Second of all, I just think that they need to shore up some things offensively. Communication between the receivers and quarterbacks. I think some plays there was miscommunication. You can't have that in a Grey Cup game. I want to see AJ Ouellette get more touches. I think that he showed that when it's inclement weather, he can be the treader. You give him the ball. I know he had one fumble, but you can't let that discourage you. Give him the ball. Let him get you in second and medium situations, and in inclement weather. The game is outside in Winnipeg. I think you'll see another cold, bad weather day, and you're going to need a guy like AJ Ouellette to put you in some manageable situations. So if they can just tighten up the run game defense, give Ouellette the ball, and get back with the communication, I think they'll be fine.
And maybe getting off to a bit of a quicker start. This has been a repeated story. All season, right? So getting out to a quick start, fast jump?
Yeah, that's easier said than done. I mean, look,
Yeah.
these other teams are fired up. The Riders, they had home field advantage. You have to think of how hungry teams are when they play the Riders. I mean, everyone wants to beat us, right? So it's easy to say, well, go out there and make sure you start fast. Opening drive touchdown or points would be great, but these teams come out ready to go and they're fired up too. So I don't care how it gets done. Slow start, fast start. As long as you win at the end, that's what it's all about. But, of course, we would all love to see a fast start.
Davis Alexander, scary looking guy, if you're a Rider fan. 13-0 as a starter, but he is banged up with that hamstring. Do you think that's going to pose any problems for them? You think that the Riders are going to be able to neutralize him?
I think the Riders should be a little bit more aggressive than usual against him. If he shows that he can't be as mobile as he typically is, if he can't push off and be as strong as he is in the pocket, breaking tackles, different things that makes him as great as he is, then I think the Riders should put some pressure on him and make him move and see what he can do. You sit back and you rush 4 and you don't get pressure with 4, then you allow him to just sit back there and be able to pick you apart. He has a big arm, and from what I've seen this year, the Riders typically kind of struggle against QBs who have big arms, who can push the ball down the field. So if you give him time and you allow him to pick apart the defense and push the ball downfield, then I think they may be in trouble. So I would like to see the defense get after him a little bit more than usually. They're not known to blitz as much as the other teams, and maybe this is a game that they change that. So we'll see. But I'm sure whatever Coach Mace decides to do in this defensive staff, I think they'll have a great game plan, and they'll do what they need to do to stop Montreal.
And that game plan starts this week. Obviously, they are in Winnipeg. I believe they would have just landed. They had a send-off at Mosaic Stadium this afternoon, but they're all away from their home facility for a week. You've been there, Darian. You know exactly what this is like. You're in enemy territory in this case, even though Winnipeg isn't in it. They are at Princess Auto Stadium. They're away from home, away from family. You have less control over, your sleeping schedule, maybe the food that you eat. How does a player get past that, mentally and physically?
Well, you just have to treat it like a training camp / long road trip scenario. I think that, you're not going to be in the comfort of your own home cooked meals, the different things that come with home games. So you kind of have to shift your mentality to this just being an extended road game. You're in the hotel for a week. You're in smaller rooms. You have to break things off. You have to deal with fans everywhere. It can be a distraction. So, look, Coach Mace has been to tons of Grey Cups. I think this coaching staff, with being players, Marquay McDaniel, Josh Bell, a couple of other guys, Edwin Harrison. These guys are veteran players. They've been in Grey Cups. They've been in these scenarios. So I'm sure they'll lead the guys in the right direction.
Yeah, it's and then you also have to deal with the stupid media members who ask you dumb questions, right? It's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge for them this week, but that's what they play for. And both teams, have that disadvantage, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they both have to go through it. It's the same thing. I'm looking at this as a home game for the Riders. I think Rider Nation will show up. It'll be 80-20, 90-10, hopefully, Rider fans. So it'll be a home game. The crowd noise will be an issue for Montreal, and hopefully they can cause some penalties and make it tough on this Montreal offense.
Yeah, it's going to be one hell of a game. But there was one thing that happened since you and I last spoke, Darian, and I would love to get your take on this. Ryan Dinwiddie off to the Red Blacks. What thoughts?
I love it. I mean, look, when we were teammates in the late 2000s, we talked about this. He always wanted to be a coach. He always wanted to be in control. And he's shown he's a Grey Cup winning coach, and he's shown that he's great with personnel. So I like this move. Now he's in charge. He can control everyone that he brings in. He can get every player at every position that he feels comfortable with, and he doesn't really have to answer to anyone. So he's a brilliant football mind, good friend of mine, and I'm just so happy for him. And I think he'll do great things for the Red Blacks.
Yeah, new location, more responsibility, but that also leaves a bit of a gap in Toronto. I did see today they were granted permission to speak with Mike O'Shea. There are some connections there. Are there any other names that kind of come to mind for you, Darian, as a good fit in Toronto who'd need some help?
Well, I look at Mike O'Shea and pinball as there being that Argo connection from, back in the day when they weren't Grey Cups together. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kevin Iben or Jordan Younger, who's the defensive coordinator in Winnipeg, may be a name as well. So what I see from Toronto is they love to keep things in the family. Pinball is pretty tight with all the alumni and past players and staff from that Toronto Argo organization. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it in-house and hired one of their guys.
Absolutely, that makes sense. Okay, you going to be at the Grey Cup this week?
No, I won't be able to make it, but trust me, the Riders will hear me loud from Florida. I think I can't wait. I'm so happy for the guys and looking forward to a great game this weekend.
Yeah, it might be slightly warmer in Florida than it will be at Princess Auto Stadium. So
that's football weather, though.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
football
I know
weather
you
in
love
Winnipeg. It's definitely Rider football weather, and let's go get it done.
Love that, Darian Durant. Thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it as always.
Absolutely.
All right, cheers. That, of course, was Double Talk with Darian Durant. We are actually going to take a quick break, but one more reminder here that if you do want a chance to win those 3 Days Grace tickets, join in the conversation. You can text us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. Still to come, Wes Keets will be joining us, and, of course, we have Pat's Chat. So we'll be back right on the other side. This is 620 CKRM and the Sportscage, which you can stream at sportscage.com and our YouTube channel as well.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
And the puck's dropped on your financial future. Are you skating toward retirement? Don't get caught offside when it comes to your work pension, farm succession, or changing family needs. Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor, and the team at GP Financial Services and Aviso Wealth are your local independent advisors helping Saskatchewan families plan for retirement and beyond. 306-584-2755, gpfinancial.ca. Mutual funds and other securities are offered through Aviso Wealth, a division of Aviso Financial Inc.
If you have a garage door that's running a little rough, you should really have Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists, come out and repair it. Or it may need to be replaced altogether. Yeah, just call Busy Bee Doors, the local experts who have been in the business for many, many years, because they can fix or replace any commercial or garage door.
Honey, calling Busy Bee.
Good idea. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it.
I don't even know.
That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Been a long day. Your feet hurt, your brain is fried, and now supper? You're staring into the fridge, contemplating your options, but your energy says, let's just not. Now imagine golden, crispy pizza loaded with all the Greek favorites. Feta, olives, tangy tomato sauce, fresh veggies, and melted mozzarella. Every bite is like a Mediterranean vacation for your taste buds, and you didn't lift a finger. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Time now for Sportscage Pat Chat, powered by Southie Mainline Motors. The name you trust. Mainline Motors is now only 30 minutes from Regina. Amazing deals and award-winning service is now at your doorstep. SouthieMainline.ca.
Thank you for joining us on the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. I'm Tegan Whitco. Behind the board there, we got our buddy Curtis, keeping us all in check. Still to come, Wes Keets. He is in the building. He'll be joining us to talk, obviously, CFL. You might know a thing or two. But in the meantime, it's Pat's Chat. It's brought to you by Southie Mainline a name you can trust. Now only 30 minutes from Regina. Amazing Deals award-winning service is now at your doorstep. SouthieMainline.ca. Right now they got a 2024 Jeep Compass with up to $10,000 off limited stock. They have a ton of $20,000 all-wheel SUVs as well, plus a 2024 Ram 1500 limited with only 3,000 clicks. What? Okay, and it's also a 5.7-liter Hemi. So check it out, SouthieMainline.ca. Curtis, do we have an intro for this? Oh, we already played it. Never mind. I was just too excited about the deals at Southie Mainline Motors, apparently. Keets Fawcett from the Regina Pats is joining us in studio right now. Keets, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Friday, you score your first WHL Hattie on Tuesday. Now you score the game winner and overtime winner against your former team in the Calgary Hitmen later in the week, and then you get 2 assists in that dominant win over the Broncos at home yesterday afternoon. You've got to be feeling pretty good about your game right now.
Yeah, it's definitely been a fun time. It's exciting when you have confidence in yourself, so it's been going good.
How do you find yourself settling in with the gang?
It's been good. I think the group's pretty close this year. Definitely a lot tighter than last year with lots of guys coming and going, so...
Yeah, there's been a couple changes, hey?
Yeah, definitely.
So how do you guys like to do your team bonding? Like, what do you do to make sure that you have that camaraderie amongst yourselves when it is the WHL? There's a lot of moving pieces.
We go out and eat like almost every day, and we'll hang out at guys' houses, and I'd say eating out's probably the biggest thing.
Oh, food. That's the right kind of love language. I love it. Okay, so what kind of player would you say you model your game after? When you look at stars in the NHL, who's someone that stands out to you as in, I want to play like them, or I aspire to have the same style of game?
I've always liked how Clayton Keller plays and Brandon Hagel. They're both really skilled forward offensively, and they're pretty good in the defensive zone and overall good players.
Okay. Those are some good players to look up to for sure. Okay, so now you have back-to-back games at home this week, Friday, Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. And then you're off for that lengthy road trip because, of course, Agribition is coming to town, and you're going to be on the road with the boys for quite some time here. So how are you mentally prepping for that? You getting a playlist put together? Are you downloading apps and games on your phone? What does that look like?
Not too much preparation yet, but I'll get there. But I'm really excited. I got to go to the States last year, and it's awesome there. The crowds are amazing, so I'm looking forward to it.
The facilities are pretty cool, too.
Yeah, they have some good arenas down there.
Speaking of facilities, what's day one of practice like after Agribition moves out of the Brandt Center?
Not smelling good.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's one of those practices you guys don't necessarily look forward to every year, but I bet it's nice to be back.
Yeah, it's always nice to come back home.
So did you have a chance to watch the West Final this weekend?
No, when we were in Moose Jaw coming back, so we were kind of busy.
Oh, okay, that's understandable. Well, you got to listen on 620 CKRM. Come on, Keets.
Next time.
Keets Fawcett is our guest right now for Pat's Chat. Okay, so now I got some really difficult questions for you.
All right.
We're going to fire them off, okay?
Okay.
It's all focused on your teammates. We're going to have some fun with this one. Okay, who on the roster has the best taste in music?
Probably Connor Bear.
Okay, who's the best dressed?
I'll give that to Reese Hamilton.
Okay. Who would most likely survive a zombie apocalypse?
Ephraim McNutt.
Okay, that was a quick answer. Sounds like we've talked about that before. Who talks the most trash on the ice?
William Pugh, probably.
Oh, yeah? Okay, good to know. Who brings the best snacks on the road?
Back to Connor Bear again.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, he's a snacky kind of guy. Okay. Worst taste in music?
Jace Egland.
Okay, worst dressed? Now we're getting spicy.
Yeah, these are tough now. Jeez. Got to think about this one.
Okay, that's okay. We can come back to it. Plus, I don't want to get you in too much trouble with the boys. Who has the best nickname?
Nothing really too creative for any of the guys. They're all pretty generic. Maybe we call Schulte Bubsy, so I'll go with that one.
Where did that come from? Or is that a story you can tell on the radio?
Yeah, no, probably won't.
No, that's totally fair. Keets, Fawcett, you have been having a really good start to the season. So best of luck on your American road trip and, of course, at these next 2 home games.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us. Of course, that was Pat Chat, brought to you by Southie Mainline. And we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back on the other side. Yeah? Yeah, Curtis is shaking his head, so that's what we're going to do. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports. Watch the stream at sportscage.com and our YouTube channel as well. You can always listen on 620 CKRM too.
Hey, farmers and ranchers, do you want the next generation to know and care more about agriculture? Donate to the Acres for Education campaign by Agriculture in the Classroom Saskatchewan to help get students out of the classroom to experience agriculture. This year, every dollar donated will be matched up to $25,000 thanks to JGL, so your gift will make twice the difference. Donate at aitc.sk.ca/Acres for Education.
Thank you, Rider Nation. The Riders Foundation 50/50 jackpots have been massive this season, and it's all thanks to you. When you buy your 50/50, you're supporting amateur football across the province. And now the Riders are back in the Grey Cup with a guaranteed payout of $250,000. But we know it'll be bigger than that. Don't get hit with regret. Buy your 50/50 tickets at riders5050.ca. And let's bring the Grey Cup to Saskatchewan.
Riders 50/50 is presented by ISC. Lottery license LR250011.
All the farmland and equipment you could need are available at auction this fall with Ritchie Brothers. A wide variety of farmland auctions across Western Canada will begin in earnest in October and run into December to get you ready for the next season. With new parcels of land and equipment continually added to their inventory, make sure to visit their website so you never miss an opportunity. Head over to rbauction.com to get started. Again, that's rbauction.com.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262 for Prairie Land Rentals. Renting heaters, skid steers, and most power tools for all those winter jobs. And your official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street, where you deal with the owner. It's time for the Sports Ticker. Brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina. Made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Okay, let's take a look at what we got going on here. In the SJHL, we got the Kindersley Clippers at the Battleford Stars tonight. Prairie Junior Hockey League action. The Moosomin Steelhawks taking on the Regina Capitals in Regina. NFL Week 10 wrapping things up tonight as the Philadelphia Eagles travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers. And then the lone Canadian team in action in the NHL is the Edmonton Oilers hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets. And, of course, the Hardy Cup took place over the weekend. The Rams did lose a heartbreaker, losing by a single point. 25-24 was the final there. We spoke with Brendan McGuire about that earlier in the show, which you can go back and watch in podcast form anytime. But that now means the Saskatchewan Huskies will now be moving on to the Mitchell Bowl, and they will be taking on Queens this weekend. And that's going to be up in Saskatoon. So that is a look at your sports ticker. We'll take a quick break and be right back. This is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and our YouTube channel as well. You can always catch us on 620 CKRM.
When your trailer takes a hit from hail, wind, accidents, or even vandalism, Affordable Trailer Sales is ready to get you back on the road. Their fully accredited SGI repair facility handles all type of trailer repairs, big or small. And right now, they've got limited spots for insurance claims this winter. But they're filling up fast. Don't wait till spring to find out your trailer's not ready. Book your repair today and travel worry-free tomorrow. Affordable Trailer Sales, Highway 1 West, South Service Road. AffordableTrailersales.ca.
With industry-leading quad-track technology, experience the efficient power to pull any implement. Plus, get subscription-free Case IH tech that unlocks greater productivity, accuracy, and precision. Steger tractors don't just pull, they perform with power you can trust and technology that works for you. Stop by Redhead Equipment, your local Case IH dealer, to learn more about how Steger tractors can take your productivity to the next level. Redhead Equipment, making tracks since 1948.
This fall, the eyes of Canadian university football turn to Regina. The University of Regina, City of Regina, and U Sports proudly host the 60th anniversary of the Vanier Cup, Saturday, November 22nd at Mosaic Stadium. It's the first time Regina welcomes this historic championship, showcasing the best in Canadian university football. Tickets start at just $10 for youth and students, $20 for adults, and kids under 5 are free. That's Saturday, November 22nd, Mosaic Stadium. Get your tickets now at vaniercup.com.
This is Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Yeah, you got the Sports Cage on. I'm Tegan Whitco, your Monday host, joined alongside Curtis, who's keeping me in check and making sure I don't break anything while Barney is off today, back tomorrow, and through the rest of the week. Now, of course, we will also be in Winnipeg. When I say we, I mean Dave Thomas and Luke Mullender. They'll be joining from the Sports Cage all week long to get you set for this Grey Cup matchup between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Montreal Alouettes, of course. And another reminder, I think this might be my last reminder for you, Curtis has a pair of tickets to give away, 3 days grace, coming to the Brandt Center here in Regina this April. So if you want a chance to go for free, Finger 11 Royal Tusk, also with them. Royal Tusk, by the way, awesome group. They're from Edmonton. But yeah, if you want to win those tickets, all you have to do is text us. That's it. Text us, join the conversation, 306-936-6262, or hell, maybe you even want to call us, 306-936-6262. You can text the Prairie Land Rentals text line, but it also works as a phone call if you'd like, because we do have our next guest in studio. Mr. Wes Keets from the Rider Broadcast Network. How's it going, buddy?
I'm good, Tegan. How you feeling today?
You know what? I've digested a lot of game tape, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling good.
Yeah. Enjoying the new role, the new seat.
Again, I haven't broken anything yet. So that's a good start. I mean, I might have. Curtis just hasn't told me anything yet.
Right. Good job, Curtis.
Attaboy. So now that you've had a chance to think back on the game, there was so much to talk about in the post-game show, and a lot of people were calling us, and we were really, really hung up on that decision to kick the ball rather than, go for it. Any new revelations on that front? You still don't like it?
I mean, it was kind of hedging your bets, right? Like that one caller that called in and said, well, it was like maybe if BC would have went down and scored. And I'm like, there wasn't really enough time for that, but I guess there was. And then there was a couple of punts in there, and it still worked out that the Riders had enough time. So I guess if you're looking at it like we got all the way down here, let's keep some momentum by getting this 3 points. Then if something happens, BC gets a chunk play, and then they get 3 points out of it, it's still a one-score game. But I still feel like if you would have went on ahead, went for it, not got it, had them backed up, they go for it, they would have been conservative. They maybe would have thrown on, second down, but probably not. They probably just tried to run twice. Then they're backed up. Are they going to punt backed up? No. They're going to run around, try to waste some time, and then they're going to take a single. Now it's going to be a 6-point game, and you're going to be in the same situation. But the Riders still did have that 3 points in their pocket just in case BC got a fluke play and was able to kick one to tie it up, right? So,
well, and I just spoke with Darian Durant about this briefly, and one of the things that came to my mind yesterday as I was sitting back and just kind of digesting everything that unfolded, because it was a lot going on, and I was also freezing, so that probably didn't make me think very straight. But it also just got me thinking about, okay, the what ifs. So what if they go for it? What if we find ourselves in a position late in that game, dying moments, you have to send out Brett Lawther to get the game-winning field goal? And with the season that he's had, did Coach Corey Mace, maybe it wasn't even intentional, was he kind of thinking, I don't want to put that pressure on a guy who's already been dealing with some mental struggles this season? Like, am I reading too much into this?
I mean, at that stage in the game with the 7 points down, he wouldn't have been a factor, what I mean, other than that kick, right? Yeah. But, I mean, I would think going into that game, definitely Mace was like, well, I hope we don't have to lean on the kicking game, which it really didn't. It was two short kicks he had. I'm just glad the offense woke up, because to go through the whole first half and only have 4 points, I'm like, what are we doing, Like, you would think game plan, some schemes, maybe a couple new plays you drew up, something would have got you a couple more points than that. So just really, I just think it's hats off to the defense that they, really just played steady against a really versatile team, quarterback, offense. Like, BC's been carving up pretty much everybody and putting up big points. So you can't really expect to, 21 points for holding the BC to 20.1 points is a heck of a game for the Riders defense, the way they've been playing. Now, I mean, obviously, Riders defense is tops of the league, so obviously they were probably expecting to play like that, but I don't think the offense should have gone into the game expecting the defense to only put up 21. Like, I feel like the Riders offense really needs to look in the mirror and understand that wasn't really good enough what we saw last week, and thank the defense for giving them a chance, keeping them in it and giving them a chance at the end. So hopefully they approach this week in prep and the coaches kind of try to get in the lab and come up with a couple of things. Like, every defense knows everything you do. So if you think you're going to go into any games after October starts with the same old plays, it's going to be a long day on offense. So, I mean, I'm used to when I was in the CFL, like, we were coming up with like 2-3 new plays every week. It was kind of like a weekly playbook. So to see the same stuff is kind of, I don't know.
Well, they got a week to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
But the only thing is, the catch now kind of feels like, okay, but they left this morning. And we'll get to that at Joe audio in a minute here. But they left this morning. They're going to be spending the week in Winnipeg. I haven't checked the weather there yet, but it's probably not going to be sunshine and rainbows. You know what I mean? So they're used to that, which is fine. But they're away from their bed. They're away from their families. They're away from consistent meal planning. How much does that factor in?
I think it kind of does a little bit. As a player, they're taking care of you. You're eating good. There's always food around. It's more about we got to do a media lunch, or we got to do a media evening, or you know what I mean? It's that pulling you away from your typical routine that the Grey Cup kind of adds into your routine that kind of gets annoying and may wear on some guys, but it's all fun. Like the biggest thing is, like I said, like I was talking about the other night, the media is going to be extra. So even guys that don't usually have to deal with the media is going to be like, all right, we didn't talk to Trevor like 10 times already this week. Let's find somebody else to talk to. So there's going to be guys that don't usually get media attention that are going to get some. How's that going to affect them? And then you're talking about your family, because everybody, you're in the Grey Cup. Like, at least your immediate family is going to want to come. If not, 10, 15, 20 aunts and uncles and cousins. So then logistically, and, the team only worries about you and maybe a couple of your family, if that, right? So you're kind of all of a sudden becoming some sort of, like travel planner or something, coordinator, So it's the extra that goes along with it. But you're going to have your time. It's just like, be smart. There's going to be the parties, there's going to be Riderville, and maybe, like, I took my family through Riderville a couple times during some Grey Cups, but it was like in and out, you're taking some pictures, not really, not drinking and stuff like that. Like, you just try to overcompensate during the week, and you try to be on your P's and Q's, because you don't want to look back at something you did having fun during Grey Cup week and think did that influence my play? Right? So I think that's the biggest thing, is like, there's tons of distractions and you got to kind of learn how to manage them. And some guys kind of want to be in the party and other guys don't want any parts of it. And that could drain you on both sides, right?
Well, and I feel like you even mentioned this probably Saturday night, but there's a lot of vets on the team. Like, there's a lot of players who have been here before, so that shouldn't impact it too terribly much. But I do know the Riders are slight favorites to win this game in Winnipeg. But I want to know the over-under on how many reporters are going to ask Trevor Harris about Davis Alexander.
You're right.
Because it's going to come up. You know it will.
Yeah, they want that hot take. I think he should say the same thing. I ain't thinking about Davis.
That's what Curtis and I were saying, but that's because we're lazy and don't want to have to re-edit that song.
Right.
I mean, just minimal changes would be great.
Yeah, I mean, and Davis, he showed some grit and some toughness. I mean, and, it was a tough game, but he was out there, they showed, I was watching some of the highlights from that Montreal-Hamilton game, and he was getting the team hype before the game. He was all up and down the sidelines being, like, loud and talking to his guys and, pushing through the hammy late. Mm-hmm. So I think Montreal is going to be trying to ride that wave, but I would bring heat at him and try to make him run around and test that hammy right off the hop. You know what I mean? And see, because to me it looks more like a strain, because I would think if he pulled it, he wouldn't have even been able to continue. Like sometimes maybe, but the way he was running around after he strained it and grabbing at it, I'm thinking it's more of a strain, which you can probably, with some good massage and like taking care of it, you probably can get that kind of out by the end of the week. But if it was a pull, then it's going to still be bugging him. So just kind of see, or I guess, we probably won't even get any good feedback or any good information from their medical staff or how it's going to be. It will just probably be, he's probable all week, and then he's going to dress and play and look fine. But
he will be game time decision. Just watch. Yeah, they will be signing NDAs as to who is going to be starting at quarterback for the Montreal Alouettes. It's going to be one hell of a game, though. It's going to be an entertaining matchup. What's the matchup that stands out most to you? Is it Saskatchewan's defense versus their offense, or like what stands out the most?
I mean, both defenses are going to cause the offenses a lot of problems. I think that, I'm a little leery of Beverett and Dequoy because they're two playmakers, right? And it's funny because Dequoy is, for a Canadian safety, he can play, like he's like got a quick jump, and he seems to do pretty good man coverage. I would like to see the Riders maybe motion some of the quicker guys like Myers and inside and try to get a one-on-one in with him and probably try to double move him, because they do, Montreal does trust him kind of in coverage by himself. So I think you try to get some of our quicker guys on him and see if he can hang, maybe test him out a little bit. But those two guys, like I said, are playmakers, and obviously we've got playmakers all over the board on the defense. But I think that our offense bodes a little bit better. So I want to see if their offense can kind of give our defense trouble, because I feel like if they don't get off to a good start, it could get ugly, and the Riders could kind of have an easy game. But I don't want to. Yeah,
it's the Grey Cup. No,
exactly.
No Grey Cup is ever easy. But I mean, even this last game against the BC Lions, that was a little close for comfort, I think, when it comes to fans of the Riders. So this one, I don't see being a blowout by any stretch of the imagination.
No, well, like I said, both of these defenses are going to be tough to move the ball on. I just feel like the Riders' offense, maybe, but I mean, I don't know. Phil Pod, there's some studs over there too. So. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be close to call. It's going to be hard to call. I guess that's why. Is it still at 1.5? Riders slight favorite. I mean, we'll see. As far as these two teams, I think are really well matched, because it's two offenses with two, obviously good quarterbacks. Maybe Alexander can move around a little bit more than Trevor, but I don't like quarterbacks that run. We talked about it a lot.
Job.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot earlier in the season. If you're not one of those guys that's basically a running back or receiver at quarterback, you have those type of skills, and don't run, because you're just going to take some shots. So I think that kind of aspect of it is going to kind of be the factor. I feel like Davis Alexander is going to get himself into trouble if he tries to, do a bunch with his feet. But if the Riders aren't expecting it, then that might be what gashes us. So I think it's just going to be a situation where he's going to have the ball in his hands, and he's going to be trying to do too much. I think Trevor knows he can't do too much, so he's going to be trying to get it out on time, and the receivers are going to be able to get the ball, maybe make a couple guys miss, and have some fun that way. But we'll see, man. This is a tough one. It's a good matchup. I hate that it's Saskatchewan and Montreal, because it brings up old memories. some battles there, right? But I think maybe that'll be a little bit of some football guys giving a little payback, because Montreal owes us for a couple Grey Cups in the past.
So when you think about the guys coming out of that West Final game, and there was obviously some major key plays in that, who would you dub as the MVP of that game if you had a choice? So on our web poll, sportscage.com, the 4 options that we provided, and you can go off script. I don't care. You're Wes Keets. There's Tommy Neild, Trevor Harris, AJ Ouellette, and Nathan Rourke.
I would say, they threw Nathan Rourke in there?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I mean, he played well.
He did.
He played really well.
Yeah, he did play pretty well. I mean, I would say, that's a good one. If AJ hadn't fumbled, I probably would have gave it to him, but he was getting a little. I don't know. That last hurdle was like that was too much. It was too much traffic. He was doing too much on that one.
Yeah.
But he was beasting. But you also give some of that to the offensive line, right? Because he was running through some good holes. Like he was getting to second level, third level before even getting hit a couple times. So I was really impressed with the O-line. I would say, I mean, Tommy, there's some touchdown Tommy. Like this dude, he gets like 3 catches a game, and one of them is like a touchdown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like he's kind of got a little, I don't know, he's got a little clover up his butt or something, like a little lucky 4-leaf clover. He's like always in the right spot, right time, and getting, you know what I mean, getting a crucial play. And, you know, I mean, skill, talent-wise, I mean, I would say he's probably like 4th, 5th on the depth chart as far as like, you know.
But he can come up with big plays.
Yeah, but he's a great athlete. I'm just saying, though, like he seems to be the guy that like gets open and makes the catch when you really need it or when it really counts for these touchdowns. Touchdown Tommy.
Touchdown Tommy. Okay, so that is your pick. You're locking it in?
Yeah.
You didn't really answer me. That's the thing. You sort of danced around it.
I mean, for considering like his, I don't know, but he's like not even a young guy. He's a few years in the league, right? Wasn't this like his 3rd or 4th year? Yeah, give it to Trevor. Yeah.
That was so nonchalant. Just give the MVP to Trevor. It's fine.
I mean, they started off slow, but then the offense really got going, and I feel like he was putting it on guys, giving them a chance to, you know, catch and run. Like ball placement, being able to, you know, make a move after that, like that type of stuff is way more crucial than people even realize. Like sometimes people just think it's just pitch and catch, but no, like where it's at, back shoulder away from the defense, is it like leading them so they can catch and run, is it, you know, that type of stuff really matters. And I feel like Trevor's been great at that all season, right? So, and he's the leader of the team, and he's the guy with the most pressure on his shoulders, so he showed up, you know, handled his business, no turnovers.
That's true. Okay, with that big touchdown from Tommy Neild, Trevor Harris to Tommy Neild, and then it went to the review center. Automatic review. We expect that, right? But it took a little longer than we wanted it to, and it appears, well, Amar Doman, I don't know if you saw this, Wes, but he really went off on that. He took a still image
of the point of the ball touching the ground, or what?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's an elbow. But he was posting this all over social media yesterday, essentially calling them out and saying the refs got it wrong. This was not a touchdown. Ball hit the ground. This is the blurriest photo I've ever seen, first and foremost. Second of all, they took their sweet time because it was such a crucial play in that game to make sure that they got it right. And I'm not saying the command center always gets it right. Please don't get that twisted. I am not saying that whatsoever. But do you think there should be repercussions for him basically calling out the refs and saying they did their job wrong? Because it was on social
for sure,
media.
because the ball can touch the ground. And, like, once it hit his shoulder, because I was wondering that too, because it looked like maybe the tip of the ball, the nose of the ball did touch the ground, right? But Tommy trapped it, and he held it there, and then he kind of squeezed it. The only way, if it touches the ground, and then if it moves in the receiver's hands in a way that it looks like they lose control, because, like, like if you catch it with 2 hands and then you go to the ground, the ball touches the ground, and you have 2 hands on it the whole time, is that not a catch because the ball touched the ground? No. So he trapped it on his shoulder. Actually, I feel like the way the DB was playing defense, he almost dang near helped him catch it, right? Because he was trying to reach around and get it out, but he's really just helping trap it. So, no, it was a catch. It was definitely a catch. I think,
And we're watching it on the stream right now, sportscage.com, YouTube channel as well. Now, I tend to agree with you, and that's not just me being a homer or anything, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, I should say.
He kept his hand on it and rolled with it, and just the grip got more secure as he was, you know what I mean? So, like, I could see if maybe, like, it looked like it was coming out and then it touched the ground and then he recontrolled it. But no, he kind of trapped it on his shoulder clearly. And then as his whole body hit the ground, then you kind of see the ball maybe touch. You can't even really clearly see if it touches truly, not from any angle I saw. But based on the size of the ball, I can kind of assume that, it touched the ground. But didn't move, and he didn't lose control after it touched. So I'm good with it.
Well, hey, the game's over. Sorry,
Yeah,
Curtis,
I was going to say if this one in the end of the regular season's a catch, then that one's definitely a catch and touchdown. Am I right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That little toss. But I mean, I'm also kind of the like if you're the refs, you're at home. You kind of gotta favor the home team just slightly. Like if you really can't call it, and it's a great play. Like, give the guy the play. Like, why are we sitting up here trying to deny a person of making a play? It's hard enough to make plays out here. If dude makes a play and you really can't tell either way, then give him the play.
Wise words from Wes. Well, you know what? That's all in the past. That's all done. The Riders won. 24-21. They're off to the Grey Cup. In fact, they are in Winnipeg already. Dave Thomas, Luke Mullender also there. They're going to be joining Barney on the Sportscage throughout the rest of the week. So make sure you're tuning in for that. Now, Wes Keets is with me, and I did just want to get your take on this because we didn't really talk about it on the Rider Broadcast Network this week, but it came out early last week. Ryan Dinwiddie.
What did he do?
What did he do? He is off to the Ottawa Redblacks as their head coach and GM, which now leaves, which I don't think a lot of people...
was right.
Yeah, he was right.
Yeah. Dunk said they might entice him with that GM role, which, I mean, it never seems to really work out, but I would love to be a head coach that could pick his own players, too. I just would have, but I'm just like, I got to have somebody else, man. I got to have, like, assistant GM that's, like, managing everything for
like
me. Just bringing me the final decision. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, let me watch a little more film on this dude, and I'll tell you tomorrow or something, you know?
I mean, the money probably wouldn't hurt either. So.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Actually, I ran into Dinwiddie last season because we played together, you know, a couple of years. And he was joking about how unaffordable it was in Toronto. He's like, man, I'm a head coach for the named professional team, and I can't even buy a house out here. So maybe the housing is a little better in Ottawa too.
Well, and from what I understand, it's a beautiful city. And let's be honest, everyone knew Bob Dice was not coming back next season.
Yeah, nah, he wasn't. He wasn't doing nothing right. I mean, they were gritty. They fought sometimes, but nah, it wasn't enough.
No, and they needed a change. Like, they needed a holistic change to actually get. And like, I don't even think next season they're going to be back in it. But clip it, Curtis. I'll eat crow next season if they end up getting to the playoffs. But I just don't see it happening yet. I'm just curious with Dinwiddie out now, that leaves a gap in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
And today, Toronto was granted permission to speak with O'Shea because they have a history there. Is there anybody else who comes to mind as a possibility of someone who might go to Toronto? Like, I'm wondering, even on the Riders coaching staff, would a Josh Bell be an option?
I mean,
do you think Rider Nation has anything to worry about is what I'm asking.
I feel like if Moss is interested, I feel like he would be the front runner. No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, I can see that happening.
So, yeah. I would just stick with that. The rest would just be speculation. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see. You know what? This is the good news, though, is that we're going to have a very active and entertaining offseason, I think.
I mean, what's Mueller's contract looking like? Everybody keeps talking about Mueller needs a chance at a head coaching spot. I mean, it's a major hub. You know, I would imagine Mueller would either want to be in Saskatchewan or Hamilton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or a major, you know. I guess he'd probably go anywhere if he's just looking for a head coaching job. But I'm wondering if the city makes a difference for him, right?
And it very well could, but I know that he's been quoted in the past, really, and I don't have the direct quote, but it was something along the lines of he's not interested in looking at anything else right now. Yeah, but again, money talks.
I don't think he should be interested either. I feel like he's still a little young for leading the team.
Curtis got a little trigger happy with that cash register over there. I like it.
Well, you're saying money talks, so you gotta hit the cash register.
I mean, I would definitely, if somebody was offering me a bunch of money to be a head coach, I'd be like, yeah, I might as well try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, Wes Keets, send him applications if you need a new head coach.
Might work out, I'm saying.
All right. Well, I think we're out of time. Curtis gave me the signal to get the heck out of here. So thank you very much for stopping in, Wes. I really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Always fun, Tegan.
Yeah, it's good times. And you know what? Wes is going to be back in this very room with me. We don't get to go to Winnipeg for the Grey Cup.
No.
No, they didn't tell you yet? Bad way to break that news. We'll be here, though.
It's going to be windy and miserable anyway. No,
yeah.
no.
Who wants to go to the
except for in Ryderville, it's going to be a party.
Yeah, who wants to go to the Grey Cup, Wes? Please. No, we will be back here. We got an hour pregame show, hour postgame show around the Grey Cup. Your Saskatchewan Roughriders taking on the Montreal Alouettes on Sunday. So we'll talk to you then. Of course, we'll be doing the call-in show as well. So if you want to give Wes a hard time, that's a prime opportunity to do it. But thanks again, buddy. We'll talk to you on the weekend.
No problem. Thanks.
And that is it for us tonight. For Curtis, thank you very much. We didn't break anything. We had a good day. Barney is going to be back on the cage tomorrow. Dave Thomas will be joining him live from Winnipeg, I believe in Ryderville, but don't quote me on that, at least in a banquet hall somewhere. But yeah, we got to take off here for the night. Thanks for joining us. Saying goodbye from downtown Regina. This is the Sportscage on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM, and you can always go back and watch the stream at sportscage.com, our YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station. Available everywhere in high-res audio with the CKRM app.
It's 6 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Corey Atkinson from the sasktoday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news. A 16-year-old has been charged in connection with a fatal shooting in downtown Regina earlier this month. The youth, who cannot be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, faces charges of second-degree murder, possession of a firearm contrary to a prohibition order, and failing to comply with conditions of an undertaking. Police were called to a home on 12th Avenue shortly before 1 a.m. on November 1st, where they found a 19-year-old male dead from a gunshot wound. The victim's name is not being released at the request of the family. Gas Buddy says gas prices in Saskatchewan dipped slightly this week, with the provincial average moving to 126.95 cents per litre, down almost a cent. Regina stayed steady at $1.26.69 cents per litre, while Saskatoon dropped to $1.25.73 from $1.29.46. Prices in Saskatchewan remain well below this time last year. Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan says ongoing refinery issues in parts of the U.S. continue to affect supply and may limit price relief. The Sask Party government and opposition NDP are going back and forth over the issue of foreign-owned farmland in the province. The NDP accuses the Sask Party of doing nothing to prevent foreign entities from benefiting from the land. The government responded by saying any evidence the NDP claims to have should be sent to the Farmland Security Board. Here's Kevin